Oh, you can? Sure can. Oh, yeah. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to the worldwide family. Peaceful Sabbath. As we get about our Abba's business, y'all. One day closer to Holy Jerusalem. You know how we do it, y'all. We turn toward Holy Jerusalem. As mentioned in 1 Kings, Daniel chapter 6, Isaiah chapter 2. Men are to uncover their head, and women are to cover their head when praying or prophesying within the assembly. 1 Corinthians 11, Numbers 30th chapter. Also, y'all, we want to try to lift us up, as David spoke of in Psalm 1st chapter, and also 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 8. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, family. We're going to get this opening prayer. And it is with the Most High's permission. And it's in the name of His only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior and our Redeemer, our uncrowned King, Yahushua HaMashiach. And we know him as Jesus the Christ, y'all. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 11th chapter, it reads, "In the Most High put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird to your mountain? For lo, the wicked bend their bow. They make ready their arrow upon the string, that they may privily shoot at the upright in heart. If the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Yahweh is in his holy temple. The Most High's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. Yahweh trieth the righteous, but the wicked and him that loveth violence, his soul hateth. Upon the wicked he shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and an horrible tempest. This shall be the portion of their cup. For the righteous master loveth righteousness. His countenance doth behold the upright.
Hallelujah! Say that!
All right, y'all. Another Shabbat, baby.
Once again, Shabbat shalom to the family, to the worldwide family. As we get about our Abba's business today, first and foremost, always want to send shouts out to our sick and shut in, to our sister Stacey Young, hope family's doing well, and processes of recovery are continuing. Shouts out to the house of Uriah. And Uriah to knock up his work groups out here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So shouts out to Brother Uriah. Also, y'all, shouts out to our family members who traveled all the way from the Twin Cities. Y'all, we got hot rotten in the house.
That's right. That's
Long
right.
my rotten.
Long my rotten.
Yes, sir. So, y'all, we want to continue to pray for our family members, those near and far, those who are drinking of the cup of Messiah, given to him by his Father. Yahushua, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, the high priest of the order of Melchizedek, the one and only high priest. And everything is mentioned, y'all, from the law, both male, female, rich and poor, free and bond, Jew and Gentile. So y'all, we're going to get on about our business. You got any questions? Sound is down.
What about now? What about now, Jeff? It's a delay.
Okay. I can hear yours for now. Yeah. What's the crowd saying? They saying they good?
What about now? What about now, Jay?
Yeah, I hear you. You say what about that? Yeah. So do we have any questions or concerns? Anything on anybody's mind, heart, or soul before we get
Oh, no wonder.
Got a little bit of reading to do. Want y'all, if you don't have the lost books of the Bible.
You loud, but not them. Okay. I just switched it. Okay. This wasn't on there. That switched off. It was switched to the camera mic.
Okay. So we're good, and y'all just want to make sure that we get a good understanding, y'all, of what we're talking about. But first, before we get started, anybody got any questions or concerns, anything on their heart, mind, or soul, before we rock and roll? This is Bible study. Yeah, you got that good. Yeah. What you got, sister?
I just want to ask if y'all keep me in prayer. Keep me in prayer, striving for more of the truth of God's word.
Absolutely, sis. We don't all have to be in prayer because we all need it. There's a whole lot more to go. If you understand, y'all, because prophecy brings us to a better understanding. So it helps us see, you know, where we're at in time. Because he said, I'm not going to give you a date and a time. If I did, you're going to wait till the last minute. Mm-hmm. You know how we are. If we hear it's Thursday, we ain't going to get ourselves in order.
No.
Going to try to wake up early Thursday morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to do something. So y'all, he tell us to watch for the signs. Watch as well as pray.
That's right.
We have to, y'all. We have to see what's going on around us. Any other questions or concerns? Want to say also, y'all, prayers going up, and thanks for the prayers for Richard, who was at the award show, Sister Judy's husband. You know, he suffered a little bit of a little chest pain, but was able to get him over to the hospital. Everything is good. They're doing 100 from what I'm hearing. So all praises to the Most High for that brother able to get that work done before he got on that plane, because it could have been critical.
Exactly.
Once you 35,000 feet up in the air. What you got, sis?
I just wanted to ask a question about why my brother, the Hebrew Israelite followers, why they so many smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol.
It's just many of the one things the Most High say, whatever you do, if it harms you, you have to put it down, but only you know where that level is at, because we have to make sure that what's legal you can do, but you have to control the volume. Like drinking is not illegal. It's only illegal if you cross the line, because Christ drank wine all the time. That's what the Pharisees call it. A wine bibber. They say every time we see you got a cup in your hand. If that causes, see, are you talking about tobacco or are you talking about cigarettes? Because you're talking about two different things. So what we do is make sure that whatever we discuss, we know the matter, all four corners of a thing, because tobacco is an herb, a seed-bearing herb. So it's on this earth for some reason. So now when you talk about cigarettes, you're talking about the addition of what's called nicotine. You're not addicted to tobacco. It's the nicotine. When you get off of it, they don't give you tobacco-rent, do they? What you got?
Give my boy man a little help outside. That's what let me know.
Okay, if you will, AZ, would you assist him out there? Yeah. So when we're talking about, if you right now Wikipedia the origin of tobacco, you'll be surprised where certain terms come from, like blowing smoke up your rear. You know where that term came from? It was some people who drowned, they actually blew tobacco smoke up their rear end to revive their breathing. That's where that term came from, blowing smoke up your rear. And they came back to life. It's like breathing, doing an enema or doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation from the other end. Mm-hmm. But you can't put your mouth down there. Uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? So when you get into the origin of tobacco, you'll understand clearly that it was an herb and it was used to settle your stomach. The same as the coca plant. that was used to numb the mouth, but with a controlled pace of it. It's when they put those 13 chemicals on it. Now you're what's called chemically dependent. You're not addicted to the coca plant itself. It's those 13 chemicals that they're beating up your endorphins and dopamines with. Those are chemical, but cause it's on that product, it makes you crave that product, but technically all you're craving is the chemicals. So that's why when you go to rehab, they're not getting you off the coca plant, they're getting you off the chemicals. And when you find out what those chemicals are, then you know why that's bad for you. So we want to be careful on if you know, you're saying, you know, why do we put this in our body, or why do we do those things? Each individual knows where their limit at with whatever they're doing. You know, so the question would be to ask again, if they were just smoking raw tobacco, would it be legal?
But I'm talking about a lot of people's motive is what they want to do it because they want to do it. It's not because of the health effects of it.
Well, and like I said, we're talking about strongholds, so we're talking about not only that, but sinning. We're talking about what will keep you out of the kingdom. And when we're talking about self, that's where the Day of Atonement comes from. So anything that's plaguing anybody in the Day of Atonement is coming up real quickly. We got a High Holy Day, the 27th. We got the Day of Atonement, I believe it's on the 6th, so we're going to have to look at our days. I'll look at them again and make sure we're up to par on that. But that's what the Day of Atonement for, is to release strongholds. And every individual know where that stronghold is at. Strongholds it's hard to shake it no matter how hard you try, but there's just a cold turkey side you haven't reached yet. And what that means is, once you quit in your dreams, you will quit. See, what's happening is the soul has got a hold to that device. So that's why it's called a stronghold. So the Day of Atonement starves that out of an individual. But what I want everybody to do, because, you know, naturally it comes up, the question is always about cigarettes or different things. The problem is, until you do a full study of the origin of tobacco and see its medical qualities. That's why I said there's a difference in tobacco versus cigarettes. One has an addition to it. It's just like Lay's potato chips. It's the MSG. It's not the potato chips. The same potato. It's the same from the same potato, ain't it?
Right.
If it's the Shop and Save, and all they got on the front of the bag is potato chips. The bag white and the letters are black. So it's not listing, or it's not a different type of potato that's being formed. It's what's added to it. And you could be addicted to MSG. You can have a potato chip addiction. So we don't want to just lend it to what we know are common devices or problems, unless we know the full matter of the issue. And, you know, I studied that for that reason, that where we should be able to answer all things. But as we ask everybody else, if they right now Google the origins, do Wikipedia, the origins of tobacco, you'll get a whole different understanding on that versus when nicotine is added. Because you're going to get a patch, you get gum. None of that has tobacco in it. It's just that chemical, and it's trying to wean yourself off. So that's their form of atonement, to get rid of a stronghold off you. Or the Day of Atonement is coming up, and you know if it's getting to the point that where you coughed and your eyes got watered up, or you drank and this happened, or you ate too much and acid reflux came up. It's a sin to be a glutton. If you just keep going to Golden Corral and you take bathroom breaks while you there, that's a problem. I'm talking about you load up plates around you. I'm talking about you need railings on the plate to keep the food on. And then you go to the bathroom and dump, let loose, and come back for round number 2. For one cost they charge. But we got some professional Golden Corral eaters out here. I'm talking about they know how to work the bar and grill and the bathroom.
Right.
They go in there at 12 and leave at 7.
Got a routine.
Right, perfect harmony.
Boy, look here. meet up with other people and get back in line again. Well,
Exchange
shalom, y'all.
receipts.
You see me? Okay. That's a quest. That's a problem, y'all. And when we read the list, it tells us what's not going to get into the kingdom. And it's sin, and whatever sin, there has to be a blood sacrifice, or Christ shed his blood for that. And if it ain't there, we don't call it sin. Because it's not. Could it be a fault that's causing an individual trouble? Because you can eat the perfect diet, but if your pancreas is not kicking uric acid out of your system, you got to now have an alternative plan called a flushing method. So that means every morning you're going to have to get up and drink more water and do different things than the average person that pancreas is working 100 and getting it out of there. You have to get it out, or you'll start to look at lamb, chicken, and different things, or mainly turkey and lamb, as being critical to you. And when you can't walk, do you say that that's a sin? That you can't put a shoe on because you're going to quit eating righteous meat that's on the list? It's a problem for you as an individual. You got to get a balance with that.
Exactly.
But I ask everyone to look up the definitions of gluttony, drunkenness, and what we call distilled spirits. And what that means is any chemical addiction. Y'all, they tell you, it's right in your face. You're not addicted to any seed-bearing herb. That's why the line has to be so close that we're not seeing God's, I should say, herb diet on this earth that said, and it was good. And we say, and it was bad. That would be a problem. What makes it bad is addition. Just like what makes this bad, you're not to do what to this? Or do what? Take away. So it's in like manner according to what the Most High put on this earth to be consumed. But I had a rude awakening when I studied it. I'm talking about even the medical qualities of it. And when you get down to what it did as far as jump-starting your heart, blowing smoke up your rear, I was stunned to find out where that technically came from. But y'all gonna go ahead, what you got, bro?
Ben Monroe got a question in the chat.
Shalom, Big Ben.
He say, do Hebrews still eat at the Chinaman?
Chinaman, yeah.
Can they still eat at the Chinaman?
I wouldn't suggest it.
Well, I mean, if you don't trust the meat, I mean, can you eat at Snooks? I mean, you get beef, but if you don't look at them ingredients, they say maybe in a pork casing.
Have you ever seen a meat truck at a Chinaman delivering? You ever seen
No,
a dog
I mean,
or cat around a Chinaman?
I ain't never been around it like that. But,
Yeah, I have.
But look, you know, but look, see, it's almost like when you say what other mammal or different thing drink something else milk. A cat will drink cow milk, won't it?
What?
A cat. A cat will lick milk off a baby's mouth. You give it to them to drink.
Right.
But that's not from their mother or different things, but they drink it as adults. You'll give it to a dog, you'll do different things. But what I'm saying, there's always a full corner that we cover every question that could come up concerning anything drinking anything's of milk is out there. I
Right,
mean,
that's a whole different subject than
Yeah.
what being on. And I mean, because I grew up eating Chinaman,
Well-
but just as of recently, and it's my choice, I've chosen to stop only because I know Korean people. I know these people whose ethnicity, they eat rats, cats, dogs. It's in their culture. And they don't see anything wrong with feeding you that.
well, the problem is they have to sneak and feed you that. So that's the problem.
I ain't never
that
seen a
they're
meat
dealing
truck
with.
outside
Well,
any Chinese restaurant.
I understand that, but you would have to be there when the meat delivery comes in
It's
to verify.
there are situations on the YouTube and the Facebook where they do. I mean, I've seen a couple of them, and I've seen them cats gathering up the rats and all of this other stuff.
Right,
and,
I seen
and
faces of death.
But what I'm saying is I physically have access to people of these other cultures who do eat that and
Right.
do say that they don't see anything wrong with anybody else eating that if that's what they eat.
Right.
So I've never seen a cat, a dog, a mouse, a sparrow, anything around the China.
Right.
So
So, well, look, I understand what you're saying. So you say shit, but the alley is spotless around there.
And the one on natural bread.
But look,
if
you don't eat it, can you eat the rice?
No, because they cook it in that wok.
Okay, so now we get back to, can we eat fast food at all? Because they cook pork on every fast food grill, along with your good meat. See, this is what I'm saying. You're opening. You have to quit. You have to quit eating fast food.
Right.
You can't stop it at this fast food place and keep eating at this fast food place unless you get an inspector back there.
That one.
Because they're cooking your beef that's in a pork casing. The only difference is you're just paying for it and don't know. If you get a beef Polish from C&K, it's most likely in a pork casing. But that's what I'm saying though, unless there's no fine line. You have to quit eating fast food. There's no in between, because once the law is broken, they cook on, and the reason I'm saying fast food is because they cook on a flat grill.
They ain't cooking rats.
I don't matter about that. But what happens is, if you're cooking all beef and you cook blood back into the meat, where you at?
They ain't cooking rest, but the abomination in the mouth is the same thing.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
So, go ahead.
If you cook on a flat grill and you eat fast food, you're going to cook the blood back in the meat. And should we eat blood in the meat? If we eat blood in the meat, even if it's deer, lamb, chicken, or whatever, are we safe? No, we're not. That's why you have to pray over whatever you going that's on the list.
Enjoy the
I don't trust their chicken at all. I trust their rice, but I have to trust their rice at the Arab place. Now look, we'll go there and get a 12-piece of chicken at the Arab place, but y'all know they pray over their meat, don't you? They're not praying a Hebrew Israelite prayer over that 3-piece of chicken with fries. They're praying a Muslim prayer over the meat. Can you still eat it because it's legal? Look, this is what I'm saying too. Like, people won't go to Sular Market, but they'll go to the international market where those Arabs are there. They have customs they have bloody days, where they cut themselves and do all of that stuff. So when you start to get into culture, that's why Paul told us, whatever sold in the shambles of the marketplace, that you can eat, unless they say it's sacrifice to idols, or if it's a sacrifice to a devil. If they say it's sacrifice to an idol, then you must not eat it. But what I'm saying, once we run fast food, you got to bring every chain in, because you don't know them cooks back there. You ain't got a clue who they are.
What if you do though?
What I'm saying, then you go into now you may be able to find a restaurant where it says all kosher, done by dietary laws. The meat is cooked perfectly. If you find a location and you visit that location daily, then that's good. You know what we like to eat, but they'll bring something wrapped in bacon. Now, we don't know if it's been cooked on the same grill as the other one. All we doing is tell them, no, take that back and bring me one off the list without that. But what are they doing in that kitchen unless we go back there? That's our only foolproof measure to prove it. What you got, sis?
I just wanted to say, when we were growing up, remember how they used to have Chinese restaurants on every corner, there are alleys? And they noticed, it was even on the news, on television, but that they never saw stray cats and stray dogs in the alley or rats. And so they were assumed by the city council to be in strip malls instead of on corners. There are alleys, and now you notice you don't see any Chinese restaurants on corners next to alleys anymore.
Well, see, this is what we got to go to. The FDA is supposed to be there to govern that. So if you go in a Chinese place and it's got a D up there, that may mean dog in here. So if they got an A up there, then you know it's something. But now, y'all, they got Hebrews Chinaman places now.
I know, that's what
it's
I'm saying.
I go to the Rice House, Hebrews back there cooking.
And my boy know him.
So it's alternatives,
right?
But it's if you gonna do, if you look at it, all we're saying is, if you paint it with a broad brush, there's no open spot here on the planet that you can go to unless you find an individual spot.
It's just your own discretion, basically, Ben.
He asked
right,
the question.
long as you don't eat cat, unless you ask them, are y'all cooking cat? If they say no, then your choice at that point is you can believe them or you don't. But if everything is boneless chicken, I have a problem with that. So when in doubt, do without.
Right.
That's what you got, Rodney.
Leviticus 11 talks about foods for bigot and forbidden and unclean animals.
Right.
And this whole chapter here talks about unclean,
Leviticus 11, that
chapter 11.
Yeah, that's the dietary law.
Yeah.
So, being that we're in the land of our captivity, it says whatever's in the marketplace, it don't mean whatever's in there. You can't eat alligator. What it means is if they say we have lamb, you can't question.
Well, is it 100% lamb?
Is it 100% lamb? Because they say you have the option not to go there.
Right.
You can say, I want to have lamb killed personally, and I want to watch the process and do that, but that could get quite expensive. But when you choose what's on the list, you're in the safety zone because lettuce could have E. coli on it.
Yeah.
It's because they got chemtrails, and if it's outdoors, what do you think them chemtrails fall into? You ever seen your car after a good hard rain, what's on the windshield? That came out of the atmosphere. So that same stuff that's on your car is on your crops. What do you do about that but get pesticides and different things? So now we move into a whole nother level of pesticides in the growth of your food to keep certain things down. So y'all, it's not hard. It's just the fact that is when in doubt, do without. But there's alternatives to eating rice. But like I said, who cooks the best sacred rice? What's that fake? Look, but they're coming out with fake lamb now.
That's a cat.
Well, I know that, but what I'm saying is everybody got trickery going now with what they call in meat-based diet. We don't know, or plant-based diet. They never tell you what plant is coming from. It tastes like meat, but where did the plant come from? See, y'all, and if we don't do our homework on all of it, then you may be missing out on something. You say, well, this is okay, but that is not okay. And we're just looking at, unless you produce it, manufacture it, cut it up, season it yourself. That's the only way to be 100% sure in this world. But y'all, we have to follow the scriptures, and it knew we was going to be in these positions. It said, that's why make sure you don't cook blood in your meat.
Yes, sir.
The steakhouse cook on an open grill.
Yes,
So all the impurities fall in the fire. But when you go to Wendy's or Burger King, that grill is flat. And you will watch your double cheeseburger cooking right next to the Big Mama extra bacon burger, and they're sizzling and they're juicing together. Why do you pay for that burger? When you get the bubblies, you say, it probably was, I ain't going back there no more. But then when it's crunch time, give me a number 6 and an extra order fries, and make sure you put that in there. But y'all, everywhere y'all, it would be a task to go to the grocery store to read those ingredients unless you're prepared to narrow down a store that best fits your liking for eating. And once you narrow that down for yourself, you introduce your friends to it. But because the Arab don't eat pork, you know what they do eat? They eat shrimps and lobsters. That's legal for them. So where we at now? Because they don't cook no pork. Well, they eat shrimp.
Yes, sir.
Look, and the bottom line is, have you ever seen a shrimp truck at the Chinese place?
I've seen them in Restaurant Depot buying shrimp.
Okay, so that's what we're saying, but it's still illegal.
It ain't a rat.
It ain't a rat, but look.
It's still not on the clean, but it ain't a rat, it ain't a cat, it ain't a dog.
It's just,
explain that little piece of chicken that be in with the
Right.
3 balls
Right.
that be
Right.
stuck together.
3
with a
bones,
piece
yeah,
of-
that's a little
I'm like,
trouble.
what is that?
But look, if you know that there and you look in your rice, you get some plain fried and it's a scrimp that look like a scrimp piece in there. Do you have to throw the whole box
Yeah,
away?
you can't just throw the cup away.
See, because even if they didn't cook dog, even if they didn't cook meat, they cook shrimp. They cook crab ragoon. They cook what's in the bottom of the ocean as filth. They do the same thing with it. So we can't stop with one. We got to get them all off the list. Go ahead. What you got, bro?
Danny,
Shalom, Maglio.
she was asking when you was talking about that fake lamb. Does it say it on the package? Does it say fake lamb on the package?
I don't know how to say it. What it say?
I don't know about no.
Oh, you talking about this coming up? Well, what's happening is it's called alternative meat. That's the name for it. It's not called fake.
Beyond meat.
It's called alternative meat. And Israel is finna produce it right now over in Tel Aviv.
Really?
They getting ready to produce it. Yeah, look at that. Google, yo, somebody Google that right now. Israel or the Israelis ready to produce alternative meat.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. You have to raise your. It's got to be from egg or.
If you don't do it yourself, and that's when you see a lot of people get off the grid and they start to produce and cut, but you got to be careful. You know, you got somebody out there that know how to skin them things and don't get no blood, don't cut that sack. Once that sack get cut, if that get in there, you got to throw the whole thing away. You got to know how to maneuver that and cut. This ain't like cutting nobody in a dice game. This is serious work.
Yeah, man.
What is an alternative meat?
No, I'm saying Israel. Just do Israel ready to produce alternative meat. That article is going to pop up. Shmanu Yah keep me up on that because he be in them sources out there like that. And he'll come up with, and you look, he'll be like, man, look at this. He like, look at them now. Look what they up to now. Alternative meat sources. So y'all, the main thing we have to do is that we don't mix doctrine, and that if in doubt, do without. We got some people like duck.
Uh-oh. Watch it. What's wrong with that?
So see, that's what we're talking about now. So what we have to do is find water birds being eaten in the Bible. I'm talking about water birds because the Bible don't tell us what birds we can eat. It just tells us which ones we can't eat. That's a total difference. It don't say not one time in Leviticus or Deuteronomy, and you shall eat these birds. It say you cannot eat birds of prey, like an eagle, like an osprey, like a vulture, like an owl. You can't eat them. So what about pigeon? What about doves? And when we talk about what you can eat, who like neck bones? Now you know we could get a giraffe and have a party. Everybody gets some neck bones and extra because it chewed the cud and it has split hoof.
Yeah.
Is that the truth?
Yeah.
Can we eat giraffe?
Yeah. If you want to.
So that's where we at, y'all. What you got right there? What is it,
Can you eat duck?
Duck is a water bird, and it's 80% fat meat. According to the law, we shouldn't consume that much fat. So all we're saying is, if in doubt, do without. So I haven't, because it says it's part of the Antidae family, which is geese and swan. So it says it comes out of that line, just like a rat comes out of a rat and a squirrel, the abomination. It says it's all the same family. So that's what we're talking about. And when it say and its kind, that means that if you mix the goose and something else and it produce a duck, you still can't eat the duck. So but what I'm saying is, if in doubt, do without. All I'm saying is, if duck is not of the Antidae family, if it's not 75% fat meat, because even when you used to eat duck and rice at the Chinese, all you had was a bone and some skin to suck on. Who ever seen meat in their duck and rice? I'm talking about when you was eating it. You had a bone and a lot of duck juice. And the skin and the rest is fat meat. Look, you might just, well, go ahead, bro. What you got?
Jabez in the chat asks, what about cooking meat in the pot with vegetables? Them boiling with potatoes? Them stews, is that cooking with the blood?
No, you should get the blood out because it tells you get the blood out of all meat. Most stews, you cook the blood out and then you mix it with your vegetable. You don't put, the raw meat has to be to the point to where the blood is cooked out. So the stew, the red should be from tomato paste or whatever you do. It shouldn't be from blood. That shouldn't give it its red. Yeah, that's blood stew. So yes, everything when he tells us how to cook, he said make sure. Now there's meat that where it says sodden in water, but that's still, it has been prepared first and then they put it in there and that breaks it down. What you got, Emo?
One way they used to do it in the old days where they would take the animal and turn it upside down. And it would drain all of the blood from the animal.
Well, that's what they do when they hang them down. During that thing, you see them hanging upside down.
And another thing, if you're concerned about eating the blood, there's a process where you can take, put it in water, take vinegar, a little salt.
Preserve it.
And it will draw the blood out, and you just continue to dip that blood off and wash it off.
That's where your beef jerkies and stuff come from. Because that's how, remember they didn't have refrigerators, y'all. How was the meat staying good for 3, 4, 5 days? It's called a curing process. And that will preserve the meat, but we're not supposed to eat leftovers after 3 days anyway. So you don't allow certain things, but y'all, when we come into the law and understanding of what the Most High saying we put in our body, I feel you, Ariel. Like you say, if you ain't never seen a cat or a dog in the alley of the Chinese, it may only mean they keeping their alley cleaner than they are down on Coke Bridge. No, I'm just saying it could be that.
Yeah.
I mean, but if the FDA don't go in there, then they're in cahoots with them. And they're paying money, extreme amount of money, to get away with that because if they're getting in there and letting them cook dog, they're either sneaking and doing it and they're going to be run out of business. Because it was a store on a Chinese place, I'm saying it's going to move on Lillian and Goodfellow, right up the street a little bit. It was in the world paper. Found German Shepherd teeth in a lot of the rice. They went through there and shut them down. Right. And charged them heavy fines. Go ahead, sis.
I lived on Lillian and like 384. We and on the block between Goodfellow and Hamilton.
Right.
And on the corner going to Hamilton, it was a laundromat and a.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the China. She know what I'm talking about. Big B Market across the street.
Yep.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
My mom used to keep dogs all the time. Me and my brother would often go down there, order our food, come out, we would leave the dogs. Wait, this one particular time, me and my brother went there. It was two Asian guys were sitting on the side smoking cigarettes. We left the dog there like usual. We came back. Chrissy was gone.
Gone. Yes, sir.
We never saw that dog again. Stop sitting there. So.
Well, look, what happened was when we watched Faces of Death, that made us cut Chinese alone. But like I say, I don't say a lie. I like the rice. Now, have I examined and say what that looked like? Once you question it in your own conscience, you have to stop. But look, then where do I go next? Do we go to Arby's where they have the meats? Well, you know what other meats on the list? Besides, you know what else on that list? Ving Rhames ain't just cutting it down and they have the Leviticus and Deuteronomy 14 meats. Do that? No, because right now you look at every restaurant and you say, why do they just have to put pork on everything? Y'all, so y'all, we don't want to belabor it, but what you got right there, AZ? What it say?
Israel is a fake meat powerhouse.
Hold on, y'all. See, listen to what he's saying. Y'all, listen up. What he's saying?
Israel is a fake meat powerhouse.
Israel, the land of Israel, the homeland, is the fake meat powerhouse. What else it say, AZ?
From plant equivalents to cultivated sales, Israeli startups are winning the race to cruelty-free meat. But no one knows whether 3D printed steaks are kosher.
They don't know if the 3D printed steaks. Now they making food on a machine that you make pictures with. So where we at, y'all? Some people say because Israel did it, it should be good to go.
No.
Y'all, we got to be careful with our Mogan David. It says kosher for Passover.
That's the next question.
Kosher means sanctified by a rabbi. Clean means clean. It's on the list. There's a play in the words. You can't trip off of the word kosher. That means a rabbi put his hands on it and say it's okay to eat. Well, they like to circumcise babies with their teeth. And like I said, they making bad meat. Go ahead, what you got, bro?
That was the next question. Somebody asked, is there pork in regular wine?
Pork and regular wine?
Yes.
I don't know.
If you look at the ingredients, y'all know where the fermentation take place. It's on there. If it ain't on the bottle and you find out they did it, it's not on you, it's on them. Because you have to remember, your adversary, the devil, is never going to trick you to the point that where he says, this is this and is that, and then expect the Lord to punish you for it. It's not going to happen. It's like getting a free case at court.
Grace and mercy.
Grace and mercy will spare us if we stay on the dietary list. But you can't do it every day. You cannot eat fast food every day. It cannot be your diet every day. If you like to cook, there's men that love to cook. There's women that cook. If you marry a woman and you like a woman to cook for you, you got to check into your engagement process that every time you say what you make for dinner, if she say reservations, that may be a problem. So y'all, let's get to this lesson at hand. We good, too, bye?
Yes, sir.
Biblical strange occurrences, y'all. And this is another thing. So we're going to get into outside of the flesh qualities. Because y'all, you know we only talking about flesh when we're talking about food. Because Colossians tell us the kingdom of heaven is not about what? It's about spiritual food. A man should not live by bread alone, but by what?
Every word.
See, you have to live by every word.
But it says we'll eat our meat defiled anyway.
And you know, and when we're talking about defiled, that don't mean, like it's saying, you're going to a place that's not taking the same precautions you are. Like on the Sabbath day. In Israel, we shut Israel down except for the war hero, the soldiers and the soldiers and the priests. Because sinning didn't stop on the Sabbath day. So the priest couldn't tell you to hold your sinning to tomorrow. How you going to do that? Moses was up getting the law and they couldn't do it.
Right.
Just come through the Red Sea, bro. And Noah didn't sin because he drank his wine. Noah sinned because it said he was drunken and fell asleep and left his woman vulnerable. Like you go to sleep somewhere and got your woman there and you sleep at the table and they rocking you trying to get you up and they say he drunk again and they can't get you up. When you do get up, everything gonna be over. Then you wonder, did anybody see that piss stain in the front of your pants? But let's get it, y'all. Where we at? Biblical strange occurrence, y'all. So what we're gonna go over today is because we read from the book of Jasher. We read from the lost books of the Bible, and we read from the Apocrypha. And why we read from these books? Because we have a measuring point called the law. If the law changes about an event in here and changes in this Bible, we can't use this. If you read anything in here that breaks the law, I don't care, well, that's just in the book of Clementine, it ain't in the rest of it. You still can't use it. A little leaven and do what?
Leaven the whole lump.
If it's fault in here, we can't use it. So we don't use the Quran because it's fault in it. It says there's another prophet after John. This say John is the last prophet. So this is why all of the prophets in this book, in the Bible, is mentioned in the Quran, but none of the Quran prophets are mentioned in the Bible. Y'all ever notice that? Ain't no prophets of Egyptology in the Bible, but their books mention the Bible. When they do stories on ancient Egypt, they always end up. But there is one source that where it gets outside of the scientist theory in the Holy Bible, in the book of Genesis. Why do they always end them shows coming back to the source? You can't trust the resource. That's why we don't read the Quran, because it's an additive. It's adding to this word. These books are repeating the same stories, just going into day-to-day detail of what actually happened. Like you see in Genesis, Moses was on his way to Pharaoh, and the Most High sent an angel to kill him. And you study in Genesis, you're like, why? And you see what it says. But when you get into Jasher, you find out that his father-in-law, Ruel, or the Midianite, Jethro, told him, don't worry about it, just go do the Lord's work. I got the boy, don't circumcise. We into the 9th day now. So Moses then broke the law already going to Pharaoh. This explains that way you get a better understanding. You're like, now I understand. This book explains also that the Sabbath, we got it going in Egypt. And it was about Moses going to Pharaoh and say, that 7 days a week gonna kill them. They can't recharge their batteries. They're going to die on you. This nation learned the difference. At least gave us 1 day off, but it was the first day of the week instead of the Sabbath. They still worked us on the Sabbath, but they gave us the next day off from slave bondage. But what Moses did in Egypt, it said it was preparing the way for us to start remembering the Sabbath. So that's why when you look at the Sabbath and you're saying what you're not supposed to do, everywhere in the Bible, Deuteronomy 5, Numbers, all of it say, remember because you were in bondage in Egypt. So it's trying to get your mindset to say that you never was able to take a break from work. It don't say what you did over here in this other land or in Jerusalem. It mentions where you were put to servitude and your body could not rest to recover from viruses and sicknesses. That's what the rest is truly for, so your batteries get recharged. Now, some of us went hard 3 days in a row at this award show, and some of us still tired. We come home from Tabernacles after moving all that stuff. That's why I say you must take the next day as a Sabbath day. It's not the Sabbath, but you have to rest just like if it was, to recharge your batteries, or feast days are going to start to make you hate that they're coming.
Right.
Man, we got to get the truck, then we got to get, and man, then you start finding ways to show up later after the work been done. See, that's because we're not considering what it's saying. They say you must take this day as that, so you stay recharged, so you stay energized. And it don't look like it's a burden to you. But once it becomes a burden, y'all, you're going to have, that's like not wanting to go to the doctor to see, because you don't want them to tell you what's wrong with you. Mm-hmm. But you know you got to go.
Right.
That toe ain't blue for no reason. It just don't turn blue.
Stinking.
I mean, you just don't hear nobody talking about, man, I got the blue toe the other day, man. That's why I went and got them sandals, dog. No.
You need to cover that up.
You need to cover that up.
You need no sandals.
Let's get it, y'all. Wait, any more questions before we get going, y'all? We got to get rolling. Biblical strange occurrence, y'all. So we are talking about morphing or physical transformations throughout these Bible and things that are happening that you say, I don't know if I can believe that. But we always start at the beginning. Do you believe that he created the stars, the sun, and the moon, and the galaxy to work for him, and gave them laws called laws of the universe, laws of nature, laws of gravity? So once you understand that these things are operating or concerning to law, we start there first. If you believe that, then it should be no problem believing these other things up here. Do you believe Adam's mama is called dirt? Virgin dirt. His mama was a virgin, but she was a dirt woman. Do you believe that before we even get started talking about the rest of the lineage and what's going on down here? Once you get past the beginning, that's why the Messiah always say, go back to the beginning. If you're having trouble in the middle, how did you skip the beginning? Because that's where it starts. And it didn't start with a big bang. That's evolution. You can't mix the two. And God's law is involved. That's what we're talking about. His law is the standard bearer. His law is what sets everything apart. So y'all, let's get at it. We're talking about physical transformation. And one thing we have to always understand, none of the angels or anybody ever, I'm talking about the righteous angels, ever morphed into anyone that's dead already. Because of Hebrews 9:27, all of Ecclesiasticus, it's appointed to man to die how many times?
Once.
And then the what?
Judgment.
So nobody could morph into another individual. Demons can't morph into your grandma. You say things like, that smell like her cologne. Or that look like the same hat she would wear. But if you saw your grandmother physically come back in the room and say, I'm making some greens like you like them, and she put that plate in front of you, then either we in the resurrection or we got a whole nother problem we got to deal with, because demons cannot transform into anybody that's dead. They cannot transform into anybody that's living. The only entities that can transform into anybody that's living is righteous angels, and all they do is transform into an individual look like you or maybe in the similitude of you. But they're alive already. It's like almost a doppelganger. Y'all know what that is? If y'all Google doppelganger, there's somebody that's on this earth that's the split image of you that'll scare somebody to death if they saw you.
I just had somebody tell me that.
Boy, look here.
Say it was somebody in Mississippi, he just was staring at me.
Yeah. Well, look. Before you grow the dreads, man, they thought you was Ronnie DeVoe. A Belle DeVoe. Shit, they like, that's a ride. Look, Jake thought he saw Judah Black slapping somebody the other day. But so y'all, they'll never morph into anybody dead. So we're going to get into the 1 Samuel. So you people think that demon, that was a demon and not Samuel. It was not a demon according to the other writings. According to the biblical script, there's never been a transformation, actually. I was going to say morphitation. Morphism of anybody that's dead coming back, y'all. We'd have been seeing Tupac and Elvis. They'd have been showed back up. Tupac's in the studio. It would have been showed back up if a demon could do it, because that would eliminate from your mind the resurrection. That would eliminate the mind of hope to see your loved one again. But the script says they have no more nothing to be done under this sun. Then you ask, well, what about the resurrection of Lazarus? It ain't a piece of paperwork on this earth that say Lazarus died twice under this sun. He was resurrected after 4 days. And then the Pharisees wanted to put him to death. But any of the resurrected people that resurrected when the graves opened up, when Christ was resurrected, the saints that came out of the grave, there's no second death for him. There's nowhere you can find and say, and King David, who was resurrected as one of the saints that Christ gonna bring back with him. That's a group he gonna bring back with him. Those are resurrected saints that bust them graves open and went on to paradise. They can't stay around here and die again. That negates the script. The only reason Lazarus was brought back was to prove the resurrection, but also that he was not the Messiah, because the Messiah was 3 days. How many days was Lazarus in the grave? 4 days, so he couldn't, because he would be breaking prophecy then, if anybody tried to say he was the Messiah. But we're going to get into these, y'all going to see exactly what we're saying. And if anybody out there got any writings out there that they seen biblically that says demons imitate someone that lived on this earth and came back in their physical form. That's why you have soothsayers and sorcerers, and they conjure a sound up, and then they ask you to help. And they doing stuff like this. He's doing a read. What the hell is this? I can make you think I'm doing something. They like, Dad, you're going into the spirit. But I gotta ask Tobit. You got a brother, a name maybe a T or a R. He likes to rap a lot. Thomas, it's Thomas. Okay, yes, it's Thomas. But he telling me. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we don't get caught up in sorcery. That's what the Antichrist gonna do. Oh, he can rap 38 bars in a... That's Thomas. It may be Willie at the time shop.
Right, no doubt.
Let's get it, y'all. So we're going to go to the book of Infancy, y'all. It's in the Lost Books. Tobit, you may have to put it on the screen if nobody... But this is the time to use your smartphones.
Okay.
And Google the Infancy. And y'all, we're going to get right to a point that where in the 7th chapter there's an event that where a man was turned into a mule. Can sorcery turn you into an animal? If that's the case, we through, ain't we?
Man, through, yeah.
Boy, you getting these women hating Negroes, boy, you women will be in trouble. I'm going to turn you into, you keep talking. See what you get turned into. Then I tell you, run your mouth again, mess up them eggs again and see what I turn you into. Right. You look at that bird cage and say, you about to have company, she mess up cooking again. We there, Infancy 7th chapter. And y'all, when y'all read 1 through 7, you'll see the Messiah at a young age. And the reason we go in here, you know, I rap with Nat Turner, and when he kind of brings these things up, he like, man, I say, well, first thing, does it break law? What they're saying about the Messiah. Messiah was killing people when he was a child. So they make it sound like the Messiah was committing murder, which is shedding innocent blood. But I don't care what books in this lost books that you read about the Messiah, and all of them, James write about him, Nicodemus write about him as a child, and you got a few other authors writing about him as a child. All of them are on the same page. Christ never put his hands physically on anybody. Did he curse individuals as a child? Yes, but those individuals were doing things to try to kill him. When you read the story, not let nobody just point to an event and it troubles you. You have to see what he done. They accused of Christ of pushing a boy off a roof because children was up there playing. All of them ran and the boy dead. So his parents come and say, why did you kill our child? Christ said, I ain't touch your child. Yes, you did. Everybody saying you did it. Now everybody saying you pushed him off the roof. So what Christ did is resurrect the boy. Zoom zoom, or whatever his name was. Zoom zoom. Zoom zoom, get up. Zoom zoom got up and sat up. He said, who pushed you off the roof? Earl. And his parents looked, they like, what? And Earl like, he take off running again. But instead of saying it's the wonders of the Most High, because your son is back to life now, that you thought was dead, you then call the Messiah a sorcerer. It's the same family members, though, as you read through Christ's life, that it's the same Pharisees that said he was doing the work of Beelzebub when he was healing the blind. That's Beelzebub doing that. He said, well, if I'm Beelzebub and I'm casting out demons, how y'all casting them out? What? Because y'all ain't did no casting yet. Right. This woman got an issue of blood for 18 years. Y'all can't cast this bad blood out. Y'all ain't nothing changed in the Bible. It's just strange an occurrence because it's happening in a different time period of Christ's life. You're looking at from 30 years old up into being crucified and then the revelations after that. Where we at? 7th chapter, verse 1. Who got it?
Reading in the lost books, in the infancy of Hamashiach.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 7 and verse 1.
And that's V11, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
They came afterwards to another city and had a mind to lodge there. Accordingly, they went to a man's house who was newly married, but by the influence of sorcerers could not enjoy his wife.
Let's read that last part. But by the what?
Let's see. But by the influence of sorcerers could not enjoy his wife.
So sorcery was preventing him from having his honeymoon with his wife. They had conjured up some and was bringing demons in to prevent that. He couldn't enjoy his wife. According to the script, even if you was in the army, you was allowed to take 1 year off.
That's true.
To please your wife. You can't just get married and then go to war and get killed. Let's read some more.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
But they, lodging at his house that night, the man was freed of his disorder.
What was he?
Freed of his disorder.
Because the mother and Christ was there. She had him as a baby. They were having trouble. As soon as they walked in, the miracle off of Messiah cured and run them demons off. They knew who it was. They got to scrambling. The same way when they asked the Messiah, "Oh, you here to torment us before the time?" He like, "Go over there and them dogs. Run over there and get them hogs." And they did it. They feared them, so they left that house. They got out of there. That's no different than when Mary went to Elizabeth's house when she was 6 months pregnant. Elizabeth started prophesying, didn't she? And John the Baptist jumped in her womb, then was kicking like a field goal kicker, yeah. And she said, the Lord of my mother, the mother of my Lord has come in here and blessed me and sanctified this house. So John the Baptist, when the Messiah, when he asked John asked the Messiah, shouldn't you be baptizing me? No, do it for this. I already got you in your mama's womb. I baptized you with fire when you was in your mama's womb. 6 months Elizabeth was pregnant. And he started kicking and flint. Messiah was baptizing him for his mission then. But he was still in Mary's womb. She had just conceived. John is 6 months older than the Messiah, right?
Yes.
So y'all see where the power starts when he say, I formed you in your mama's womb. Christ was doing work in his mama's womb. Just like Samson was prepared in Judges 13. You cannot eat this. You cannot eat this. You must not put this in your system because that umbilical cord runs to where? To the baby, don't it? It feeds the baby. So Mary was feeding Christ perfectly. Elizabeth was feeding John the Baptist perfectly. But it was for a reason. Let's get some more. What else to say?
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And when they were preparing early in the morning to go forward on their journey, the new married person hindered them and provided a noble entertainment for them.
Right.
But going forward on the morrow, they came to another city and saw 3 women going from a certain grave with great weeping.
Right.
When St. Mary saw them, she spake to the girl who was their companion, saying, Go and inquire of them, what is the matter with them, and what misfortune has befallen them. When the girl asked them, they made her no answer, but asked her again, Who are ye, and where are ye going? For the day is far spent, and the night is at hand. We are travelers, saith the girl, and are seeking for an inn to lodge at.
Right.
They replied, Go along with us, and lodge with us. They then followed them, and were introduced into a new house,
right,
well furnished with all sorts of furniture.
Right.
It was now winter time, and the girl went into the parlor where these women were, and found them weeping and lamenting as before.
So Mary and the Messiah, as they were going, and they had a girl with them who the Messiah as a baby cured of leprosy. So they got that off her, and as they were going looking for, and they understand because the Messiah is still a young baby, they ran into this other couple weeping at the grave site of their parents. And they say, what's the problem? Why y'all weeping like this and wailing? So now they to the location where they are, and they still weeping and wailing, y'all. It was a tragic death of losing both of their parents, and they left with a brother, but this brother's in this state of mind. Let's get some more.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
By them stood a mule.
By them stood a what?
A mule.
What's a mule, y'all?
An ass.
A what?
An ass.
That's a donkey.
Ain't the same thing?
No.
A mule is a mixture, right?
Right?
It's a donkey and a horse.
A mule is a donkey and a horse,
And it's stirred.
and it's sterile, so it can't reproduce.
So an ass ain't a mule?
An ass is a donkey.
Wait a minute, hold on. Hold on. An ass is a donkey,
Right.
but a mule is sterile. It's a horse and a what?
And a donkey. Makes a mule.
I still don't. A hybrid.
It's a hybrid, so it makes a
So,
mule.
but is a mule sterile?
Yeah.
Both of them sterile. The
Yeah.
mule and the donkey.
No, the donkey is productive.
All right, man. I ain't gonna ride
No,
one soon
right,
anyway.
right. Well, right. Look, it's like a Rottweiler and a pit bull.
Uh-huh.
If you mix them, they make a
bull
a
mastiff?
rock bull. You know, I'm just saying that. So, but look, I'm just saying that. But that may not. It'll be sterile. It's just like the giants were sterile. Because when you cross this, it won't allow it to reproduce because you change the course of God's kind and its kindred. You change it. Dog family can mate with dog family.
Right.
Just like we as human can mate with human. See, we can get with Japhet, we can get with Shem, we can get with Ham, we can get with. It's still gonna make a baby. Should it happen? No, but it's not gonna alter it and structure it to where it changes into a whole nother nation of people or groups of people.
I heard that.
If that's the case, we couldn't be Israel no more because all they do is kill all the men and rape all the women. Then Israel is gone off this planet. If it's down to miscegenation. They just don't like, the nations don't like miscegenation because we have the blood covenant that Abraham got. That no matter who we mate with, it has to, the blood comes to our side. We dominate all the other nations out. That's called the blood covenant. That's make sure you get through slavery and you get to run your years in the kingdom as Israel. If not, all they got to do is capture us and take us over here. Look, they take us over to the Philippines. All of us are like dog meat then. Or they kill you, Ariel. And then they get a man with the daughters and different things, and then they got a whole new generation void of you.
Right.
They're like dog meat. But it's not that way because we have the blood covenant. You know who else got the blood covenant on that side, but at a lesser level? Who's subject to us? Esau. All of that talk about their diminishing and you're stopping abortion for that has nothing to do with prophecy. I don't care what they're doing today. Prophecy cannot be interrupted. If they're able to wipe Esau off, what are you going to do with the book of Obadiah? What are you going to do with Amos 9 and 11? What are you going to do with, what is Isaiah 56, 2 by? What are you going to do with the remnant of Esau? If they're able to be wiped off because Jacob has to take his heel. If you miscegenate them out, we never get the kingdom then, do we? Who we going to put on whose heel we grabbed in? The Arabs? Who heel we going to grab then to replace Esau so that the prophecies come to pass? Yo, it's only technically two strong groups out here, and it's the sons of Isaac. Because if a Chinese mate with a white person, he's considered white, ain't he?
Yeah.
And y'all, I'm just telling y'all, look at this from that perspective. That's where you have what's called the Khazars. Esau is the only white family that's on this earth, or you got to get them on the ark. Somebody before Esau was born that's of white skin. You got to get them on the ark. If you don't get them on the ark, Esau then created a religion and became the 13th tribe called Israelites or Israelis. They never name what tribe they come from. Y'all ever notice that? They never say they're from any of the 12. They call themselves Israelis. And then they get with other nations that join their man-made doctrine called Judaism. And then they become the Khazars. Other nations converting to Judaism made up by Esau's offspring. Make sense, y'all? So they become proselytes, so we give them a name of Khazar. But they can be traced back to their father, get off the boat, but you cannot. There's no white man on the ark that you can put him other before Esau. I've been waiting to see it. I want to see how you make Japheth, because Esau's in Russia right now, but we get into all of the Genesis 62. Esau conquers every land like the prophecy said he would. He would take it by the sword. Who he take this land from?
Indian.
Who he take
Well,
Alaska from?
yeah.
Who was running Alaska? Who was working? Who was running Hawaii before we started hearing Bookham Dano? Bookham Dano. Who was running Australia before Crocodile Dundee got there? The Aborigines, wasn't they?
Yeah.
And they're considered the oldest people on planet Earth. Consistently with a consistent, what we can say, been in the same location since they was introduced to the world. Everybody else been moving in and out of lands, in and out of lands. That's why we always keep saying there's a difference in the prophecy of the land and the prophecy of the people. Magog and God is still talking about Japheth's son that got off the ark, but you got white men running. Them weren't the ones that got off the ark. They just took Russia. They took Alaska. They took America. They take what they want, the lands that they want, and they plant a new flag in it. They say they took the moon from the Most High, didn't they?
That's what they say.
Right. From the Most High, they took the moon from the Most High. That what they said? They planted their ensign up there. They say it belonged to us. Slow my way. They say the moon belongs to us now. Yeah, we got there in 68 with technology that we didn't have, that this cell phone has more technology. But it's going to take us to 2035 to go back. You mean to tell me you ain't got the technology that you had in the 60s and you went, this has more technology than that. But it's still going to take you another 10 or 15 years to go back. You should be able to go back with the old technology.
Right.
Can you still drive to Chicago in a 55 Chevy if it's running?
Yeah.
It's running, you get there.
What you got, Emo?
You know, they were saying that they're taking Alexa technology right around the moon with them as they go the different planets. They're going to take this Alexa thing.
Look, they want to put it out there because they're waiting on the second coming. See, they watching prophecy more than us. If you knew your kingdom was about to end and the pleasures that you have right now, you're looking for any way to extend it. See, we're not thinking about it unless you done hooked up with the world and you hate to see what little bit you got go and you don't want to turn it loose, but you'll be turning loose to an everlasting kingdom. If you know yours at the door, you're going to try to extend it, ain't you? Mm-hmm. If you had a choice to live or die, what you going to do? Would you extend it?
Yeah.
Let's get some more.
Back in the Infancy, chapter 7, and we're in verse 12. By them stood a mule, covered over with silk.
What he covered over with?
With silk.
So when you start covering a mule in priceless garments, we keep reading though, we'll find out. Go ahead.
And an ebony collar hanging down from his neck, whom they kissed and were feeding.
Okay, so if this is a literal mule, so now we got individuals kissing them and they got them in clothes. And do mules care where they drop a bomb at?
Oh, no.
Look, so if he's in the house and you kissing on it, the mule could just let loose. I mean, when you go horseback riding, do they ask permission?
No.
They just start letting loose, don't they?
In stride.
In stride. Let's keep reading some more.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
But when the girl said, how handsome, ladies, that mule is.
Now we got a problem. Is this reaching levels of bestiality? Because y'all, I want y'all to always think about the law reigns supreme. Mm-hmm. If you asking women, and you got a mule in there, and all the women, and you kissing on this mule,
right?
And you looking at the other ladies in her. If y'all saw that, and they like, lady, ain't he handsome? You know, he has a long face, but he's quite handsome. See, and that's what I'm saying. A snake to be one desire. So was that a snake Eve was looking at? Was that a boa constrictor? She's like, I got to have that handsome scissor. Was that what's going on in the garden? Let's read some more.
They replied with tears.
What they replied with?
With tears, and said, "This mule which you see was our brother, born of this same mother as we."
So what we would talk about then is the devil or sorcery has the power to change God's creation into his own invention. And that's to change you coming from the same mother, but the devil can conjure up and rattle some bowls, and next thing you know, poof, you like the prince that turned into the frog. So y'all, it's just another way you have to be careful of the devil slipping in the belief of bestiality. Because look, they're having love affairs with that frog that's turned to the prince, ain't they?
Kissing on.
Kissing on him, and so wouldn't that violate bestiality laws?
Depending on if they use the tongue.
Oh boy, look at it. That. Go ahead, bro.
You shouldn't ask me.
Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Yeah.
For when our father died and left us a very large estate.
Big paper, y'all, left generational paper, a big estate. Go ahead.
And we had only this brother, and we endeavored to procure him a suitable match, and thought he should be married as other men. Some giddy and jealous woman bewitched him without our knowledge.
See, so they were trying to find a good wife for their brother to prolong their father's lineage.
Right.
And they say some giddy woman came in smiling and giddy, and you know, they thought this was the perfect woman for him. Boy, but she was working roots you ain't seen since the beginning of New Orleans. Turned him out, Santeria'd him out. Let's read some more.
Verse 15.
Yeah.
And we, one night, a little before day, while the doors of the house were all fast shut, saw this our brother was changed into a mule, such as you see him to be.
Right.
And we, in the melancholy condition in which you see us, having no father to comfort us.
This is why we always crying every time you see him. We go to the grave and try to cry to him and say, can you come out the grave and produce another son? But they can't, so you in this melancholy state. And melancholy means just kind of out of this extreme sad. You're not aware of what's going on. You just kind of spaced out, so to speak.
Right.
Go ahead.
Have applied to all the wise men, magicians, and diviners in the world.
Right.
But they have been of no service to us.
So they say they went to all the root workers.
Right.
All the root workers, the top root workers. Miss Rudolph. You know, what's the lady that had a palm in the window? That's Miss Rudolph, ain't it? You had that fake Jamaican woman. They went to her and found out she lived in Chicago. Hi there, brothers. Y'all know the one that was acting like she was. Yeah, what you say? Call me now. Look, and then changed her. You know, she lived on Coke Bridge. It ain't your accent. It's almost like Tina Turner. She using that same accent, but she was born in East St. Louis. Go ahead, where we at?
Verse 17.
Yeah.
As often, therefore, as we find ourselves oppressed with grief, we rise and go with this our mother to our father's tomb, where, when we had cried sufficiently, we return home.
See, they get it out of their system. And I should have said their mother and their father, but their father, the mother was there crying too. But they get it out of their system. They just go to the grave and just weep uncontrollably. Go ahead, what else to say?
Verse 18.
Yeah.
When the girl had heard this, she said, take courage and cease your fears, for you have a remedy for your afflictions near at hand, even among you and in the midst of your house.
Right.
For I was also leprous, but when I saw this woman and this little infant with her, whose name is Yeshua.
What is his name?
His name is Yeshua. I sprinkled my body with the water with which his mother had washed him, and I was presently made well.
So she said the leprosy was cured off of me when I did this, but this ain't no different than the Messiah was doing when he was grown. He cured leprosy off a woman and told her, now go do what Moses told you to do when you've been cured of leprosy. and you go to the 13th and 14th chapter of Leviticus, tells you what to do when you're cured of leprosy. It's not just you get cured and you don't follow instructions. You have to, then there's a process after that to sanctify you being made whole. He said, go do what the priest told you to do. Go ahead.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
And I am certain that, what is that, he or her? And I am certain that he is also capable of relieving you under your distress. Wherefore arise, go to my mistress, Mary. And when you have brought her into your own parlor, disclose to her the secret. At the same time, earnestly beseeching her to compassion, beseeching her to compassionate your case.
So they saying go to Mary. Some will say right here they look like a Catholic book, look like they're going through Mary, but the wedding feast, when they ran out of wine, who did the people go to? They went to who? And then who did Mary go to? Messiah. So ain't nothing changing here in these books. It's not a strange occurrence. It's just happening while he's a baby. But it's the same process. Mary ain't never changed. When they wanted her something for Christ to do, they went to his mom.
Right.
Hey, tell him we out of wine. He like, woman, it ain't my hour yet. I ain't gonna be crucified just yet. What you want? They done ran out of wine. He like, fill up the water pitchers. What's different, y'all? Nothing. Let's keep reading.
Verse 21.
Yeah.
As soon as the women had heard the girl's discourse, they hastened away to the Lady Saint Mary.
So, do you have a problem with the word saint? Because then we got a problem with Psalm 51 through 4. Gather my what together? My saints. He shall make war with the who? And shall do what to the what? Ain't no problem with this word, is it?
No.
Okay, let's keep reading.
Introduced themselves to her, and sitting down before her, they wept and said, O our Lady Saint Mary, pity your handmaids, for we have no head of our family, no one older than us, no father or brother to go in and out before us. But this mule.
But this who?
But this mule, which you see was our brother, which some woman by witchcraft have brought into this condition which you see.
So this woman was working major league witchcraft.
Right.
And if she had the witchcraft to turn an individual into an animal, yo, we on a whole different level of something going on here. Or it just simply means something else that we've been reading over a long time. This just appeared to be more extreme. But is it more extreme than a serpent talking to a woman? And the serpent said to the woman.
Right.
Which one is more extreme? And she looked at the serpent and said, one to be desired.
Right.
So the snake didn't play, ain't it? Let's get some more.
We therefore entreat you to compassionate us. Hereupon Saint Mary was grieved at their case, and taking the Most High Yeshua, put him upon the back of the mule.
So Mary ain't doing nothing here, is it? She working through the Messiah, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
And said to her son, O Yeshua HaMashiach, restore or heal according to thy extraordinary power this mule, and grant him to have again the shape of a man and a rational creature as he had formerly.
And a rational creature, because human beings are creatures. We are creatures.
Right.
Meaning a creation of the Most High. Everything is a creation of the Most High. Now what we do as different creations of the Most High, we become what's called procreators. Then we can have children.
Right.
After our image. Let's read some more.
Verse 26.
Yeah.
This was scarce said by the Lady Saint Mary. But the mule immediately passed into a human form and became a young man without any deformity.
Okay.
Then
without any what?
Deformity.
See, and this is a key word to remember these words. When somebody's deformed, do they look like something you may name of an animal. When we used to have we didn't have woke words to say in the projects. It wasn't no compassion, so to speak. If somebody was slow, you call them retarded to their face. Man, oh man, how y'all gonna leave Willie? Y'all know he retarded when you picking teams for basketball. But that individual, because he's deformed, deformity have you in different positions. When you understand witchcraft, when witchcraft works over an individual and they put roots on you and they do those things, but you have to understand, she just wasn't able to say poof. What she did was mix some potions and gave it to him, and it destroyed his chemical makeup and had him doubled over like this. Just like the many side effects you'll hear if you take this drug. Babosa cures that pain in your left leg. But side effects are runny stool, bloodshot eyes, visible gas.
Oh no.
Running stool, visible gas.
That's a heck of a combination.
Boy, look here. And then you doubled over, bent over, because you think there's a curse on you, but you're only cursed up here. We got movies, if y'all want to see this as we get through before we finish. I'm just explaining this as we go along. There's a movie called The Serpent and the Rainbow. Y'all want to see witchcraft at its highest level? They put stuff on people and killed them. Basically, they stopped their heart like they had got the milk propofol and they buried them alive. And it's a time period on it that you wake up buried alive. And that's true. Guess where it comes from? Haiti. It's the mixture of Santeria and voodoo. It's called Serpent and the Rainbow, and it's got that dude that always look like he worked for the devil. Like I'm talking about like he get promoted every week by the devil. It's some black dude, I'm talking about darker than this tablecloth. Teeth look like he been chewing on junkyard rocks. And he just look like you don't want to invite him over for dinner. Under no circumstances. But y'all Google Serpent and the Rainbow. And then when y'all watch that practice, and y'all also watch the movie Angel Heart, which is Beltane Eve, Satan's highest holy day. And there's a movie out there called, with Lisa Bonet in it, called Angel Heart. You want to see sorcery at its highest level and what it do to an individual and how it breaks them down? But we're going to keep reading so we get some understanding today. Let's read some more.
Verse 27.
Yeah.
Then he and his mother and the sisters worshiped the Lady Saint Mary, and lifting the child upon their heads, they kissed him and said, "Blessed is thy mother, O Yeshua, O Savior of the world."
So who did they tell blessed is his mother?
Yeshua.
Right. So the same thing when he healed, and they told him when he was an adult, "Blessed be the paps that you sucked." What did Yeshua answer? Blessed are those that get the word of God and keep it. Your mother outside, what did he say? Who's my mother and my brother? So it's no difference in the language. It's just happening while he's a child. But he did the same exact thing when he was adult. Mary knew the same thing. She didn't put that on her. She didn't say, go do 10 Hail Marys and rub some beads together, them Hail Mary beads that the Catholics do. She gave all the glory to her son because she was told, you're going to have this son and he's going to be supernatural. Let's read some more.
Blessed is thy mother, O Yeshua, O Savior of the world. Blessed are the eyes which are so happy as to see thee.
Now that's what his mama said. Go ahead.
Then both the sisters told their mother, saying, "Of a truth, our brother is restored to his former shape by the help of the Master Yeshua HaMashiach. And the kindness of that girl who told us of Mary and her son.
Right.
And inasmuch as our brother is unmarried, it is fit that we marry him to this girl, their servant." So
basically, he's been restored whole. The leprous girl that's with Mary and the Christ, she was restored whole. So now you got the perfect marriage. Both individuals been restored whole by the Messiah as a baby. So now we got a perfect marriage going to be set up, don't we? Mm-hmm. Both of them healed and can tell of his goodness. I was mule bound, and this woman say I was leprosy bound.
Right.
Both of us was out the picture, because when you seen me coming with that white skin and that blonde hair, and I'm looking like I'm full of the monkeypox. But it's called leprosy.
Right.
Let's read some more.
Verse 30.
Yeah.
When they had consulted Mary in this matter, and she had given her consent, they made a splendid wedding for this girl.
So Mary again giving instructions or making sure the wedding goes correct. Just like at the wedding when Christ did his first miracle. Who was setting that up? Who was orchestrating that? Who did they go to? They didn't go to the governor. They went to Mary. We ain't got no more wine. If they'd have said we didn't have no more of nothing, she'd have looked at him and said, "You're sure they ain't got no more of this?" Let's read some more.
Verse 31.
Yeah.
And so their sorrow being turned into gladness, and their mourning into mirth, they began to rejoice, and to make merry and sing, being dressed in their richest attire.
What kind of attire?
Their richest attire, with bracelets. Afterwards, they glorified and praised Yah, saying, O Yeshua, son of David, who changes sorrow into gladness and mourning into mirth. After this, Joseph and Mary tarried there 10 years.
10 days.
Oh, 10 days. I wanted them to stay a while.
Yeah, boy, I know you did.
After this, Joseph and Mary tarried there 10 days, then went away, having received great respect from those people, who, when they took their leave of them and returned home, cried, but especially the girl.
Because they hated to see him go. So let's get to the mule part. He had silk on. Do you ever dress a mule in silk? I'm just come on, understand. I mean, just because you got money. And he had a leash around his neck. So what we have to get into is where does witchcraft and sorcery, as we know it today, that's presented to us, that we can compare it to. It's called get out. The man that they were taking the minds from, that man that just run by, that big strong buck that didn't have a mind of his own, was led about, all he was used for as a mule. Drug smugglers are called what? Mules. They're not a mule, are they?
No.
But they carry the burden across the state line. That's what mules do. They carry the burden. So this individual, the top witches and sorcerers, worked this individual over to the point that he was so broke down, they told him or they convinced him that he was a mule. Miss Rudolph do that all day. You know somebody now that you say witchcraft and God. They got corn in the trunk of their car. They got lemonade in a bottle that symbolizes piss. To keep the demons off of you, follow these instructions. Y'all, they are a mule for the devil at that point. So this point, this man didn't have a mind of his own anymore. She mentally, with those witchcraft things or whatever she lured him into, to take the bait and perform that witchcraft, turn this individual into a mule mentally. So y'all saying, now then you done went too far, say he had a leash on his neck. When people don't know their own way, you have to direct them. You have to make sure that they don't wander off. If you got a 90-year-old man with dementia, you almost gonna have a leash on him, or you're gonna have to have somebody there watching him, or what is he gonna do but run off? He don't know where he gonna go. He ain't got an understanding of what he gonna do. So you say, Daniel, again, that sounds a little crazy, but it's only as crazy as we finna get into Daniel, the 4th chapter. Let's go Daniel, 4th chapter. And you tell me if there's any difference. So we asking the same thing. If this is too far-fetched, then the garden is too far-fetched. Because that was it, or you believe that was an actual serpent that Mary was talking to. You believe that's an actual serpent in Revelation 12. Revelation 21, I saw that old serpent and the dragon and the devil. There's other books in here that you can get into that compares people's behavior to certain things. It say when you see an individual like this, he's a hyena. When you hear Jake call certain people, you human hyena, that means you'll wait till somebody come up and you'll steal their prize. That's a human hyena. When you say, like I say, a monkey man, is that a man that, knuckles drag on the ground? Can he tie his shoes while he's standing up? That would be a monkey man, wouldn't it? Just straight up like this. I'm talking about long arms, just tie his shoes standing up. Boy, look here. Or the missing link. Let's get this Daniel 4th chapter, y'all. What, AC? What you talking about? Standing up, boy. See it long. Look here.
We're going to be reading in the book of Daniel, chapter 4. I'm going to start the reading in verse 1.
Yes, sir. So what we're doing, y'all, is making sure that we have the same type of language in the Bible that we're reading in the lost book. But what we did is we never saw law breaking. We never saw Mary being in charge of providing the miracles. So we ain't changed from the Bible. Catholicism and Christianity puts Mary in charge and say you must pray to her. They never say 13 Hail Yeshuas, do they?
No.
They don't dress up the statue of white Jesus and drive it around. They have Mary dressed up. Let's read some more.
The book of Daniel, chapter 4 and verse 1.
What'd it say?
Let's get some understanding, family.
Uh-huh.
Nebuchadnezzar, the king, unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth.
Uh-huh.
Peace be multiplied unto you. I thought it good to show the signs and wonders that the high Elohim hath wrought toward me. How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in mine house, and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me.
See, so y'all understand, it don't matter what king it is, it don't matter how much money or power it is. When you go to sleep at night, you're like everybody else. You have no money you take in your dream with you. You can't take your car in there. You can't take that fancy jewels in that dream with you. You're solo bolo. When we're talking about, and how does dreams scare a rich man? You know why? Because he can't control if he wakes up. You have to be woke up.
Right.
Sometimes things wake you up, a TV blur on, phone ring, somebody elbow you, get up, it's time to get up. But the power, it would be the same power if you could resurrect yourself. You get up out the grave, wouldn't you? Let's read some more. You're under the same mindset because you're in the conscious realm at this point. You're in soul realm 100% at this point. Your soul is controlling your visions and dreams, not your flesh. Let's read some more.
Verse 6.
Yeah.
Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream.
Y'all see who's always brought in for people in positions of power and a lot of money? Soothsayers, charlatans. If you look at anybody in power, they got a charlatan hanging around. Michael Jackson hung out with who was the top magician at that time? David Copperfield. All of them will hang around with a top warlock or magician. Nancy Reagan was a warlock in the White House. There's reports out there she was running and controlling Ronald Reagan with astrology. I mean, you can Google that right now. Nancy Reagan was a full-fledged witch in the White House. You always got to have a spiritual medium with you because it's outside just the flesh. It's supernatural. They know it's a spiritual war going on. We just look at everything flesh. Every prophet or king, every king, I should say, of Israel had an advisor that's different from a prophet. An advisor take law, statutes, and judgments that he done studied and war documentation, and he advises the king, look, last time when they tried to take them, they couldn't take them, man. The army, they left them flanks over. So if we do go to war with them, we have to leave these flanks over here. We got to make sure they get mad. And you would take the advice. But when an oracle come in or your prophet come in, he say, this is what the Lord say. You put 10 men over there, that's all you need, and that's all we're going to need to whoop them. Wait a minute, they have an army of 100,000. The Lord said 10 men on the West Bank, and that's all we got to do. Now, either you going to do that or you going to not take the Lord's advice and take an advisor's advice like Moses took his father-in-law's advice, Jethro, and didn't circumcise Gershom. Mm-hmm. So when you listen to that advisor instead of the word of the Lord, that advisor's words should be based off the word of the Lord.
That's right.
But they'll try to please you and blow smoke up your rear. And you fall for it and you say, okay, well, and he's doing this because he's trying to get next to you. It's like the advisors came to David. That's Uriah the Hittite's wife. Bring her to me. Then the prophet of God came and said, David, a man raised a ewe lamb, treated it, it was like his own flesh. And then another man that had many ewe lambs came and took that one that he nourished up like a baby. David, what would you do to the man? And it's the man of God talking to you. He's not an advisor. He's an advisor of the Most High. He's a prophet.
Yes, sir.
David said, that man needs to be put to death today. That prophet of the Lord who don't care about David being king, he's under a different power. He said, David, it's you. Me? Yes, you. David said, this thing is known of the Lord. Mm-hmm. It done reached another supernatural level. So then after he takes his punishment, he writes Psalm 51. Though I was shapen, you go and say, though I was shapen in iniquity. He never say he was born in sin.
Right.
He say I was shapen with sinful flesh. That's shapen in iniquity. You cannot be born in sin unless you broke sin as transgression of the law.
Yes, sir.
How do you be born into sin? What I'm still meaning, the fetus is grown. So a fetus is not born in sin because he would have to do something and then he comes out of the womb, but that individual will have to sin. Now, could he be conceived in sin? Yes, there was rules for that. David and Bathsheba, first child, was conceived in sin. But it couldn't live 8 days. It died in 7 days because they would have circumcised it on the 8th day. A child born in adultery, sacrificing to Abraham's promise. Wasn't going to happen. That don't mean the child won't be in the kingdom. Child didn't have nothing to do with how his mama and his daddy got together and produced them. They can't take the fault of be born in sin for that. Or we have to be born in sin for what our ancestors did in Jerusalem. We wasn't there, was we? Did we do any of that stuff in Jerusalem? I hope we ain't doing none of it now. Let's get some more, y'all.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers.
The top warlocks around. Go ahead.
And I told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof.
They wasting time then. What I'm paying you for.
Right. Verse 8. But at the last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy God.
Right.
And before him I told the dream, saying.
So Daniel's name was changed to Belteshazzar, because they're in the Babylonian captivity, just like our names got changed. Hebrew name. But does a name change what's inside of Daniel?
No.
Did that stop his power to be able to receive the gift to interpret dreams? Did it stop it?
No.
So name ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So y'all, that's why we have to be careful of becoming a holy name roller. If you don't say Yeshua like this, if you don't say that, most of the time Messiah say, don't even tell them who I am.
Right.
Just go show yourself. Let them figure it out. Because if you tell them the name, they may get it mixed up and then they'll be chasing me behind the name. There's too many Yeshuas around
That's what I
her.
was
That's
gonna
a
say.
common name.
Yeah, they'll be running up behind the wrong
The
Yeshua.
wrong one.
And he'll be taking credit.
Taking credit and,
Yeah, that's
trying
me.
and then trying to make you blind see he getting mud and spraying it on her. Can you see?
No.
No, I can't see. And he done crept off with your money. You sure you can't see? Go ahead, bro. Where we at?
We're in verse 9.
Yeah.
Boy, that was some creep that boy.
Boy.
Verse 9. O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee, and no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and of interpretation thereof.
See, so you see, master of the magician. That don't mean he was a magician. He said, you master them.
Right.
You above them like Moses and Aaron threw down their staff, and then the magicians threw down theirs, and Moses and Aaron ate theirs up. They mastered those magicians. What Moses and Aaron do. He couldn't send anybody less. Or the magicians would have pulled it and powered them and told them to get the hell out of Egypt. Let's read some more.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
Thus were the visions of mine head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew, and was strong, and the height thereof reached unto heaven, and the sight thereof to the end of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. The beast of the field had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelt in the boughs thereof, and all flesh was fed of it.
See, so do y'all think it's a tree like out here on earth that could do that right now? Or this just kind of represents something in his dream? So you have to take it for one. It's just telling you, this tree I saw was capable of doing this, but it's going to break it down what terrified him, because a tree like that shouldn't terrify you in a dream, should it?
No.
It's doing right, it's feeding everything. Why am I terrified then? If you had a mansion and it had everything you want, all your friends had places to sleep, there was food for plenty, would you be terrified? Something's terrifying this individual. Let's read some more, we're going to find out.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher.
A who?
A watcher. And an holy one came down from heaven.
So the watchers are still around. It didn't clear them out before Genesis 6 chapter. That was just one group of the watchers lost their first estate. Watchers are around. Watchers are angels. You're given angels. Children have angels in front of them. It says their angel is always watching out for them. You know, it's called your guardian angel. Michael is a guardian angel. Uriel and Raphael, those are called guardian angels. They're sent here to just kind of watch your back, so to speak, but you can lose your security. You keep on acting up, your security will burn out on you. But when you escape through something, your security did that for you that you didn't see. That was watching and following you to make sure don't nobody get at you, like when Pharaoh tried to touch Sarah. And that angel just did his hand like that. He, Uncle! This must be somebody's wife. Can't touch this. Go ahead, sis.
Verse 14.
Yeah.
He cried aloud and said thus, hewn down the tree and cut off his branches. Shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beast get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast in the grass of the earth.
See, so when it say the dew of heaven, you know, we got that when they're talking about Esau, the way he smelled. You know, but you got to look at it of how Isaac explained it. Now, not how we may look at it if you ever been around a white person and their hair got wet. You say they smell like a what? That's not the dew from heaven. It's two different things. It may have that after effect because it's got dew on a dog. But if you had dew on you, it just makes it smell like that different on a dog. So y'all, but Isaac looked at that as a blessing, not a curse. So we got to be careful when you say it. You have, especially if you use it or try to bring Isaac into here, what he said about Esau, because he didn't say it was a curse and it was a stank smell. He said, smell like the dew of heaven. Esau, you know, your raiment smell like that. Your raiment smell like fresh rain. You ever had smell fresh rain in the morning? That's what he said his clothes smell like. Now, he could have smelled like a muskox, but his clothes smell like the dew of heaven, fresh rain in the morning. If y'all ever been to Jamaica, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, because they put them barrels on their roof and they catch all of the morning rain. It sprinkles and rains every morning over there. So they don't have to worry about water supply or paying a water bill. Though they poor as hell and make about $1 an hour, they got food on the trees.
All over.
Always. One thing they ain't gonna never have to worry about is eating. Now, you may go on a fruit diet, but everywhere you walk, there's food on the trees. Let's get some more.
Verse 16.
Yeah.
Let his heart be changed from a man.
Uh-oh, what is heart finna be? What?
Changed from man. And let a beast's heart be given unto him.
Can this happen, y'all? Can this happen? See, this is why we were talking about the mule situation. And we're going to see that this actually changed this man's heart. That they pulled that out and put a pig heart in there. See, they're trying to do that now. Pull a man's heart and put a pig heart in there, but it don't last because they're not of the same kind.
Right.
You'll be on medication the rest of your life and devices hooked to you. You would never be able to live with a pig's heart. They're of different kinds. Go ahead.
And let 7 times pass over him. This matter is by the decree of the watcher.
Who is it by?
By the decree of the watcher. And the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men.
So
and I had read that already.
I know it. See, so the Most High, he said, look, if you think you so powerful, I'll bring you to your kneecaps, and I'll put a nobody in your position.
Right.
Israel, you think you so tough? You talking all this noise, and treacherous Judah, you out of control. I tell you what, I'm gonna go get me some base men.
Right.
I'm gonna go get me the dung of Esau, and and I'm gonna put them in charge over you. I'm gonna go get the sons of Canaan, base men, who pedophilia is a right in their nation, and I'm gonna put them in charge of you. So you can understand what's going on here. I'm going to give them your law, statutes, and judgment and have them rule over you. A base man. And y'all, and that's what we have today. We have base men ruling over us.
Yeah.
But it's not that they just got put in a position. They were put in that position because we wouldn't obey. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
because our Lord and Savior, he sets kings up and takes them down.
Absolutely. And it's not that they've done anything wrong. It's when pride settles in these individuals. He just don't use them. Well, I'm going to set them up, then I'm going to knock them down and prove something. No, these men have to worship God. Every nation on planet Earth have to acknowledge that he's got them set up over that nation. You didn't do that yourself, so he'll go get them. I'm going to get you, but I'm going to have an Israelite in that position to tell you why I'm getting you. I'll bring you to your knees. Pharaoh couldn't be brought to his knees until the Most High say, all right, Moses, enough of what y'all doing. Step back. Time to show him, you know, that you mow from Missouri. It's time to show him. And Moses started working the plagues, and finally the last one, the death of all the firstborn. And when you get into this breaks it down even more. It say they that only had one child, and it was dead already, died before the parent, dogs went and dug the grave up and drug the bones back to their father's house and laid them on the front porch. So you can see the dead of your firstborn again, that the Most High ain't playing with you, Pharaoh. Let my people go. You know, so you gonna outrule me now. I'll put him in your hand, and you gonna tell me, man, get on away from here, man. We'll let him go when we feel like it. Let's read some more.
Verse 18.
Yeah.
This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof. For as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, My Lord.
What did he call the king of Babylon?
My Lord. The dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies.
So when you hear stuff like you don't hear, we're talking about a respect of somebody in charge. That's all it was. He wasn't the Lord, or he wouldn't be coming to Daniel to get the mystery. All Daniel said to him is respect him as a king. Like when you go to court, if everybody stand up and the judge is asking, how do you plead? Look here, man.
Okay.
Say that to the judge instead of your honor. Man, I don't want to hear none of that, man. Rusty the bailiff get to put in some work.
Yeah. You've been looking forward to it.
Been looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You gonna come up in here and disrespect who's in our authority to make a judgment on your life? Man, miss me with that, man. You better be, Your Honor, I truly don't understand. I may need some counsel, Your Honor.
Yes.
That's what you better do. Let's get some more.
Verse 20.
Yeah.
The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto the heaven, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beast of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king.
Who is it?
It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong. For thy greatness is grown, and reachest unto heaven, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. And whereas the king saw a watcher and an holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, Hew the tree down, and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my lord the king.
So now we finna hear the sentence. This what's the dream about. Now here comes the decree. And the decree is the judgment. It's when the jury come back in and they say, do we have a verdict? Boy, you trembling, ain't you? If you boy, look here, you got 12 people on the line finna, pass judgment on your future. Let's read some more.
Verse 25.
Yeah.
That they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beast of the field.
Right.
And they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen.
So if we eat grass as an oxen, how long are we gonna last on this earth? Grass is not even what you put together. It's not lettuce. It's grass. And what eat grass? Beasts, don't they?
Yeah.
Let's read some more.
And they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven, and 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomever he will.
So he said, this going to run you 7 times till you get it in your head. Pharaoh had to have 10 plagues before he got it in his head. And see, people don't understand what hardening of the heart mean. They think you have naysayers saying, man, I don't know what kind of God y'all got, man. He wouldn't even let the dude repent. Man, he kept saying the Lord hardened his heart. The Lord never just said, boom, Pharaoh, your heart is hard and you ain't going to believe me. Hardening of the heart is show you who is God. Because when you get into the 7th chapter of the book of Exodus, he told Moses, I'm going to make you a God to Pharaoh. That hardened Pharaoh's heart because his advisor, who that nigga is, think he gonna tell you something, Pharaoh. Pharaoh, yeah. What else he do? He just turned all the blood to water. But you the king, yeah, I am. He just put flies in everybody's house, flies in their eyes while they trying to eat, flies in their food, flies in their drawers. But you the king, you Pharaoh, yeah, I am. That's hardening of the heart. That's somebody making a base person is flipped. Tell them they're king over you. Yeah, you look here, everywhere. Horse flies. Go ahead. Where we at?
Verse 26.
Yeah.
And whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the tree roots, thy kingdom shall be sure unto thee. After that thou shalt have known that the heavens do rule. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness.
What he got to do?
Break off thy sins by righteousness.
So we see why the dream has even happened to him. There's sinning going on. And what is sin?
Transgression of the law.
So you may have your kingdom, but you breaking God's law. Like this nation. You got this your kingdom, but you furthering the affliction on the children of Israel. Y'all owe for that. I didn't tell you to do that. All that testicle cutting and running babies off and feeding them to alligators. Y'all owe for that. I ain't forgot about that. Y'all owe me for that. Y'all don't owe me for the captivity. Y'all owe me for furthering the affliction. Because he can't put us in his hand and then blame them for doing what he did. No, he said, I'm getting y'all for furthering the affliction. As it had been done unto you, you done unto them, I'm going to get y'all the same way. So remember that, but I'm going to bring it to your mind 4 times. I'm going to 4 times it on you. You don't believe me? Hurricane time. You believe me now? Start hollering. Joplin, Missouri. You want to get wiped off the map? You don't like niggas, do you? You're 99% white and you've been running them to run. Tornado time. I'm going to send you one 600 miles an hour and 10 miles wide. What are you going to do with that, y'all?
Ain't nowhere you can go.
You going to shoot a nuclear warhead at it? Let's get some more. Sam said, boy, that chuckled you, Sam. Go ahead, let's get some more.
Verse 27 from the top. Wherefore, O king, let my counsel be acceptable unto thee, and break off thy sins by righteousness, and thine iniquities by showing mercy to the poor.
To the who?
To the poor. If it may be a lengthening of thy tranquility. All this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon.
So we see that the Most High always give you time to change your mind because he's a merciful God. Psalm 83, we read that a lot, only about all nations against us. But if you don't read verse 16 and understand it in Psalm 83, when it says, he puts those storms on people that they may recognize who he is and call his name out. That's the only time you really hear them call his name. If you watch anybody or a tornado coming out there, oh God! Oh, they ain't hollering for Joe Biden. They ain't hollering Donald Trump. Boy, and they own kneecaps too, ain't they? They running for underground. They looking for shelter. And when they come out, guess what's happening? The sun shining so you can see that destruction. I want you to see what I did in broad daylight. The aftermath. Now, do you want day number 2, or you going to get down, or I'm going to lay you down? Your choice. Let's read some more.
Verse 30.
Yeah.
The king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty?
Don't sound like the dream troubling him now, is it?
Right.
He's still on his high horse. Same way in this book of Jasher. Do y'all know it was 2 years that passed by when Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh? Pharaoh had 2 years to get it together before Moses and them came back. That's a merciful God, y'all. You got 2 years to get your mind together. 2 years, y'all. That's a merciful God, ain't it? Before Moses and them went back and confronted him. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 31.
Yeah.
While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee.
So we just want to lamb back off of Elijah class where it was watch your mouth. The tongue is the most powerful thing on the body, and it cannot be ruled or tamed.
Right.
You can tame a horse, you can put a bit and bridle in its mouth. You can have dolphins commanded, and you can have them keep going backwards at your command. But this tongue, you can't stop it from cursing. You can't stop it from slandering unless you put the bit and bridle on it yourself. Let's read some more.
Verse 32.
Yes.
And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beast of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomever he will. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar.
See, once your time run out, the Most High say it ain't no, go back and talk to your lawyers, and you come back with another deal, see if you accept it.
Can't appeal.
Now, you can appeal. Once he say, I gave you 2 years to get your mind right, and you don't do it the same hour, not the next hour, within that hour, an event took place right then. Let's read some more.
And he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen. And his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers.
What was his hairs grown like?
Like eagle's feathers. And his nails like bird's claws.
Now, I want you to think this hair all over his body because he ain't wearing clothes no more. I'm talking about a hairy individual.
Man.
Now, we talk about Esau born hairy and red all over like a hairy garment. This was times 1,000. And not only this, you see them YouTube videos with sisters' nails like this? Yeah. No, his nails were curved. They grew like this to eagle claws. This was on his hand. So you know it wasn't no wiping when he took that grass dump.
Boy.
Because you go to rake right here, it's going to be some problems.
Be some tenderness, boy.
With them eagle claws. Go ahead.
Just like this generation say, ooh, my bad.
Yeah. Truly, but it's going to be going too far.
Bad.
Because you can't let that dung get mixed with blood, can you? You scratching back there with them eagle claws, you talking about looking for a smooth stone. Go ahead, bro. What else it say? Happened to Nebuchadnezzar. This is what Uriah sent us. It's in Sirach chapter 22, 1 and 2. We didn't have toilet tissue a lot, so we used a smooth stone. Y'all know ain't no jagged edge on her.
Right. And that one hasn't been used.
Yeah. Look. But look. But I hope, he had it first. Sirach 22, 1 and 2. But what we do, we find smooth stones like this, and you could wipe with this, but you throw them in the field, and the script is talking about as a man finds a smooth stone and picks it up and then realizes it's a dung stone. It's really a hot potato. Now, first thing you're going to do is do this. Don't you? Man, that's a dung stone. So, this is what he would have had to want, but he couldn't even use that with them eagle claws. Y'all ever seen an eagle claw? An eagle can pick up horse.
Yes.
If you get the right one, fly by, picks up whole goats and fly them back to their nest and eat them and pick them apart. I'm talking about, you think you got them guys that cut cows, they will cut that thing apart. Yes. Let's read some more. What else to say you got?
Verse 34.
Yeah.
And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven.
In the what?
In the army of heaven.
Do army men have equipment on and weapons, right? So spiritual weapons, because they call it an army. Go ahead.
And among the inhabitants of the earth, and none can stay his hand, or say unto him, what doest thou? At the same time, my reason returned unto me, and for the glory of my kingdom, mine honor and my brightness returned unto me. And my counselors,
and my who?
And my counselors and my lords sought unto me, and I was established in my kingdom. And excellent majesty was added unto me. And the eagle claws, no,
right.
Verse 37. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, all whose works are truth, and his ways judgment, and those that walk in pride.
Those that do what?
Walk in pride, he is able to abase.
He'll knock you down in a minute, you walking in pride. So what I'm talking about is, we just read about the mule man, and we just read about a man turned into an oxen with eagle claws and so much hair on him, so he ain't got clothes on, that the hair grew like eagle feathers, and it protected him from the elements of this. Because look, do birds change their feathers in the winter?
No.
Or them same feathers work for the winter, the summer, the spring, and the fall, don't they? So yeah, if they thinking, but they're still the same feathers. They ain't got like they could fly away and put on the winter feathers.
Put on the plaid feathers.
Yeah, plaid feathers. Yeah, you know it. You know, but he's on the ground eating grass like an ox, and you see this a king. And if you want a perfect example of that, everybody Google Saddam Hussein being pulled out of that hole, and you want to see a king of Babylon because he's over there in Iraq being brought to people. He was down in the hole with rats. And when you see this disheveled individual come out of that hole and how he's covered up with filth, this Saddam Hussein saying he was going to make the mother of all wars against America. You in a hole with American money. You didn't have no Iranian money. You didn't have no Iraqi money. You down in that hole with $700,000 with George Washington face on the front of it. And when they pull him out of that hole, so y'all Google that, Saddam Hussein getting pulled out of that hole, and y'all gonna see this individual, what we talk like, and how they handle it. I'm talking about clothes look like he done had them on for 100 years. It was terrible on their king of Saddam, of Iraq. He was reduced to a beast, living in a hole, a dirt hole, and your tenants are rats. What money gonna do down in there with rats?
Not a thing.
So y'all, we want to make the comparison that this is not a strange occurrence in the book of Infancy, because we have the same type of example when sorcery overpowers you, because he started to trust in his sorcerers more than the Most High, but they couldn't answer his dreams because the devil can't get in there unless you let him in there. That's the only way, y'all, the devil get in your dream. You have to allow him in. And it's from prior that day activity. If you spoke aloud of your crime, if you whisper, if you keep silent, the devil can't hear it. That's why you're supposed to go in your closet and pray to the Most High, your most secretive things. And he said, and I will hear you in secret, because the devil can't hear when you go in your closet. He can't hear it. And he said, and talk to me. That's when you verbally is talking to the Most High with your mouth. You making sounds. It's off. The devil goes mute. But if you whispering transgressions to your buddy, man, I'm supposed to look here. Look in the trunk of that. Boy, you like, boy, shit, you got turtle doves in there. Where you going, across the water? Yeah, dog, I'm going all right over that, dog.
That's why
No.
we ain't got that.
We be in trouble when we said.
That's why we ain't got that.
Let's get some more, y'all. Let's get into this other one real quick. The witch of Endor. And I talked about transformation of demon. A lot of people will say that was a demon that the witch woman conjured up. You have to be careful because you're saying the devil have power of resurrection. See, when you put the devil with that much power, they're replacing the Most High. You have to be extra careful on what you're reading. But when you read more throughout the scripture, you see only resurrection power is given to angels commanded directly from God. Go get him. Get him out of the grave for me. Bring him back here. We'll get into some book of Jude that proves that. But never Satan, never his demons, because if they driving you crazy with you helping them, guess, what do you think they'd do, boy, if they had full control? Just have your favorite grandma come back in the room. Y'all miss me, didn't you? Huh? Jimmy, you missed that chilling surprise, didn't you, Jimmy? Big Mama, yes I did. Now the devil done brought you back with an unclean diet that finished feeding them. That's what killed you. Boy, let's get some more, y'all. 1 Samuel 28. Y'all, we're going to get on through this. We're going to get right to the heart of the matter because I want to get into that Jasher 71. We got a few. I think we'll make it though, y'all. But so far, we got any questions out there too? By anybody got any questions about the dark side? Deuteronomy 18, we're supposed to stay away from all of that astrology, necromancy, and all of that, y'all, because it won't do anything. You going on, Rodney? Thank you, bro, for coming down and fellowshipping. Boy, love your presence, bro.
It's not the traveling all night.
Hey, look here, get some rest, bro. It's the Sabbath day, so get you some rest, bro. You got charging up. But it's on, it be live stream so you can pick up where you left off.
Yeah, I will.
Y'all say one love to Brother Rodney.
One love.
All the way down from the Twin Cities. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom, Rodney.
Let's get it, y'all.
All right, the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28.
What it say?
Let's go in verse 3.
Yeah.
Verse 3.
I'm with you. Yeah, that was mine.
All right.
Go ahead.
It says, now Samuel was dead.
What was Samuel?
Dead.
Uh-huh.
And all Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land.
So Saul is following Deuteronomy 18. He keeping law. Y'all got to get out of here with that soothsaying. Miss Rudolph, get going. I'm coming back around the block. If you still got, you're going to be evicted. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled.
See, you scared. You looking at numbers more than you looking at quantity more than you looking at quality, I should say. So you looking at your army against their army. Their army always gonna be bigger. You call the minority. You already know you outmanned and outnumbered physically. But when the Lord tell you all you need is a couple, when he sent us all money, do he send us out at 15 or 20? How many do he send us to a city? How many?
2 to 3.
2 at the most 3. That's a whole city. That's like going all out into Ferguson with 2 people. And if there need to be some language or tongue, then there's an interpreter with you at the most by 3 to take that city. The Most High don't need a gang. Let's get some more.
Verse 6.
Yeah.
And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophecy.
See, so at that time, these were the only forms of communication. Name them forms of communication again.
By dreams,
Uh-huh.
nor by Urim,
Right.
nor by prophets.
See, so the prophets would bring you the word from the Lord. He just visited Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel by dreams, didn't he? Mm-hmm. And what's the last by Urim and Thummim? Because that was the breastplate that the priest wore. He would talk through the priest to you and say, this is what I need you to do. So the Most High cut off communication because he's a coward at this point. You scared, you disrespected me. You gonna disrespect me in front of the army of Israel? Hell, you was already on your knees scared to come out when Goliath was talking noise and talking greasy about Israel. You were scared then, now you scared again. You taller than everybody. Said Saul was, his head was, well, his shoulders was taller than every man's head. That's where his shoulder was. It ain't counting this part. Than the tallest man. That's how tall Saul was, and he was scared. Now Israel chose him as a king because he was 2 feet shorter than most giants. Well, he almost tall enough to take on. So we look at the outer cup always. He's tall enough to handle Goliath. No, because he was peeping under his desk when David came in there. Where will you get a man? And he was like, who? Who is that? It's David. I hear you looking for what you gonna get a king? All my armor. Here, just take it, get off. And David put it on. He looked like a child in a grown man's suit coat. Like you put a 5-year-old in a suit coat of a grown man.
Like Zebediah's album cover. The little boy with the big
Absolutely. That's what David said. I ain't proved this yet. For one, I ain't proved it yet. No, all I need is what I got. I'm going to go get him. He like, player, go ahead.
Tell me what happened.
Tell me what happened. Had that scared fear, then the Most High said, fear has to go, right? Yes, sir. He said, fear, it will cause problems. Fear creates doubt. Mm-hmm. Let's get some more.
Look at what give us the king's spirit got us into.
Yes, sir?
Right.
Got us following a scary man.
Oh, look here, bro. Because he the tallest. Go ahead. Look, no, that's like Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and some of the other knockout artists. 3 of them go in there, and you know some of the top knockout artists, George Foreman with them. And there's a Pee Wee Herman at the bar, drinking his little Shirley Temple.
You mind getting up out of your seat and let one of us 3 heavyweights sit there?
Get the hell away from here. All 3, you ugly heavyweight. And then he hit him with that 3 Stooges slap and slap all 3 of them at the same time. Pow, 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 pow. And all of them fall back like this. What are we going to do at that point? To Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
But get the hell out of there. You done knocked the 3 champions out with a 3-piece slap.
Mm-hmm. That's your turn, dog.
Go ahead, bro.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
Then said Saul unto his servant,
Yeah.
seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor.
So a familiar spirit is a demon that lived on this earth that's familiar with past events. They're only limited to a certain amount of those past events. They'll just give you a brief portion of when they were around or they were reigning at their highest level. So they give you a brief vision of that, and then when this person reviews it to you, you think that they lived before. No, they're familiar spirits. Mm-hmm. They're familiar with what went on because they can't die. They're immortal technically. So they can't die, they're gonna always be around. So notice the Most High cut off his communication with Saul. Can you believe Saul went to the devil's house to call the Lord? Can y'all imagine? I want y'all to think about this. You go to the devil for salvation. You ask the devil, what are the keys to eternal life? The devil gonna give you an answer? He gonna tell you, he gonna give you an answer to eternal life, but it's gonna be in some flames. Let's get some more, yeah.
With me?
Yes, sir.
Down, not up,
Verse 8.
Yeah.
And Saul disguised himself.
What'd he do?
Disguised himself and put on other raiment. And he went, and 2 men with him, And they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
Now look here, he got on dark shades and a raider cap and a hoodie. Got 2 boys with him.
Breaking his own law.
Breaking his own law, because we just started off in verse 3 that he had put all of them out. Now you got to go back to who you put out, a base person, and you asking for help. Let's read some more.
Verse 9. And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirit, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die?
See, this is how the devil gets in there now. Because the devil repeats God's law to you. And see, do you still want to play though? See, the devil repeated what Saul had done. Saul made sure Deuteronomy 18 came to pass. That's why I live over here now. So I'm telling you this, what that king had done. Just like Nathan came to David. So y'all see how the devil play? The devil laid on the line what the Most High do, who has the true power, to see if you gonna turn away, pull them shades off, throw them clothes off, and say, Lord, have mercy on me, I'm crazy. And get out of there running with them 2 men. But he's already in the full throes of deception and scaredism. Is that a word?
It is now.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
So now, the dark side is praying to the Lord. They're in better shape than Saul. The wicked is in better shape than Saul at this point, because she recognized his power better than Saul does. It's like an Israelite bragging about fringes and doing an armed robbery. Let's get some more.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel.
Now I want y'all to think about the movie Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg at this point. Let's get some more.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me?
What did she ask Saul?
Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
Okay, so what did conjuring Samuel, or those conjuring words, reveal that was Saul? We get the answer. Go ahead.
And the king said unto her, Be not afraid.
Like me. Go ahead.
For what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth.
So we got an issue here. I saw gods ascending. This is something they don't naturally handle, because now they're descending out of the earth where Samuel was buried at. Gods don't. So there's resurrection. She's saying, I'm seeing resurrection. This ain't conjuring. This is resurrection. Let's read some more.
Verse 14. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel.
What did Saul do?
Perceived that it was Samuel.
He perceived that it was Samuel. He never saw who that was. He just perceived it, because the demon is, the woman only said, I just see an old man in a mantle. They want to believe that she sees it because it's outside of her normal hoodooism. This is at a whole nother level. This is beyond hoodooism. This is power and might that she's seeing now. And she's saying, I'm seeing gods ascending out of the earth. What's happening here? This don't never happen with this cheap work. It's almost like that movie Ghost, when Whoopi finally dealt with the situation, and all of them started running, her and her sisters.
Boy, she got up out that train. She was gone.
Was she gone? Let's get some more.
Verse 14 again. And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with the mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dream. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. For the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand.
What did he do?
Rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David, because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with the Philistines into the hand, will deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines. And tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines.
No demon or demonic person has this power or right to pronounce a judgment for the Most High. Never. Go ahead, what else to say?
Verse 20.
Yeah.
Then Saul fell straightway all alone on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thy handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore, I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat, that thou mayest have strength when thou goest on thy way.
So we can hold up, y'all know the rest of the story. The whole house of Saul got took down. But most people say, okay, man, that was a demon, man. Can't nobody do that. They can't do that. So let's just get in the book of Sirach, 46. And we'll start about verse 13 when this is the hall of fame of men. And we'll see if Sirach, Ben Sirach, understands it differently, or if Sirach say that was a demon that's masquerading as Samuel. Demons can never imitate anyone that's passed on or anyone that's alive. They need your help. They need you to convince the other people by saying, yeah, I think that's it. You hear how Saul was answering the same way. It got to be Saul. I think it's Saul. He never saw who it was.
Right.
He wanted to believe, but he got his wish that time. And angels ascend and descend. Like, y'all ever heard of Jacob's ladder? When Jacob was having his vision, angels were ascending and descending, but they were coming from the top part because, shalom, bro, because it was a live event then. It's on earth. It's not dead. They came down and he actually wrestled with that angel. And hip got out of joint. So, y'all, we see that when you see the ascending and stuff, there's resurrection going on or taking place. Just like Luke 16, the rich man and Lazarus. I'm tormenting this flame. Go back and tell my brother. He said, I can't go back over there. They got Moses and the prophet. They got the Bible. They won't do what you're doing if they obey. They won't end up where you ending up. So you're not unconscious on that side unless you're at rest. When you go to paradise, you're at rest. It's the best sleep of your life. You know how you wake up and you be like, boy, that sleep felt so good. That's what they're doing. And then you wake up to righteousness. You wake up going straight to the kingdom. Now, on the other side of that great gulf is torments. It's not the lake of fire. It's just all wicked people like yourself. They pulling jack moves on your fire. They kicking fire from your rear end. It's tormentation. It's like having a fever 24/7 through eternity. I'm talking about 101 fever. You know, when you get hot, throw the covers off you, then you get cold and pull them back up. That's the torment before you get to the lake of fire. Because hell and grave is cast where?
Into the lake
of fire. And the rich man, he rode up from hell, not from the lake of fire. Let's read some more. That means judgment day has already happened. We have to be careful. Let's read some more. Where we at? I want to get Sirach 46. Start about 20, or you want to start about 13? Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, the book of Sirach, chapter 46, verse 13.
Or Ecclesiasticus, yes. Go ahead.
All right, it reads, before him there were none such.
Where you at?
Verse 13.
46, 13?
I ain't worried
That different in the pocket.
No, my bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, here written in French.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Right.
I Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 46, verse 13.
Yeah.
Samuel the prophet of the Lord, beloved of his Lord, established a kingdom and anointed princes over his people. By the law.
By the what?
By the law of the Lord, he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob.
See, by the law he judged Israel. The law gonna always set this thing in motion for righteousness or wickedness. The law is always gonna be by it. Sirach is a writer. This is not, Sirach wasn't given this and then he started writing from that perspective. Sirach is writing this from the perspective of the law. So everything he's writing, his writings must be based off the law. He's just giving us an eyewitness account. He's a brother like we are, and he's putting it in words where we can understand. Go ahead, bro.
All right, verse 15.
Yeah.
By his faithfulness, he was found a true prophet. And by his words, he was known to be faithful in vision.
In what?
In vision.
So that was a vision that Saul was going through, wasn't it? Faithful in a vision. Did that come to pass? What happened to Saul? What he told him? You and your whole house gonna be here with me today. Now that included Jonathan, who loved David, who had done nothing wrong. He picked sides against his own father to be with David, but because of what his daddy did, caused him to be put to death too. But he will not be judged for what his daddy did. He will be judged for the covenant with David. And the covenant they made also was, take care of my son, my only son that I have, who happened to be a crippled boy. He fell off a wall and broke both ankles. So he was handicapped from that day on. So even though the Lord put this hit down on the whole household, he still respected that covenant between Saul and Jonathan and David. He still respected that, because you read that when David found out that was Saul's son, he said he sit at this table till he dead. I want you serving him. I want him to be treated like royalty for the rest of his life. He sit at my table from here on out. So the Lord respect covenants between men. What you got over there? Go ahead.
Brother, sister in the chat got a question. It says, because Jacob wrestled with the angel and died getting touched, we can't eat bone and chicken thigh?
No, I never said that. See, we'll get into that after this. We'll bring that up, because once you realize, when you back it up in the chapter, you'll see that Jacob had a fear that Esau was going to overpower him. That was the reason he was praying anyway at Bethel, which is a portal. That's the same Bethel that where Abraham split the calf. That's the same Bethel. He's at a portal location. So that opened up the heavens. They know where it's at. It's just like this shuttle that they had to cancel again, that they send that rocket up. They're worried about the heat shield. They're worried about burning up before they even get into outer space, because the portal ain't opening up like it's supposed to. They know what portals are. When they set up NASA, they are setting these places up. They either had what they call intervention. Something came down to that point and they set up places. Just like, what's that group? They got a base on the base of Mount Hermon, NATO. NATO base is at the base of Mount Hermon. The same place where Dan was pulling his most worst wickedness. At the base of Mount Hermon is a NATO base. Why do you think it's at the base of Mount Hermon? It's just like the CERN machine is over there where that God Shiva's at. That's where they cranking that thing up, trying to get it to the speed of light. Notice the key words is, if we can get it to the speed of light, we go into another dimension. What you got back there? And they create dark matter in the sense. It's almost like the magicians, when Moses conjured up blood and frogs, they did it too. But it didn't attack the Israelites. They just doubled up what attacked them. They're opening up the genie with no control. Go ahead, let's read some more. But we'll explain that's all that was about the hollow in the thigh. He had to have that hollow in his thigh because he needed help after that. The angel was just showing him, you don't have to be scared of anything, player. We got you. We got you, and he wrestled the angel. But it say at that point, they eat no more of the sinew around that. And the sinew is the muscle. Sinew is not gristle or bone. Sinew is what? You look up sinew, it's still blood. It's muscle part that they say we don't even cook that no more. But it had nothing to do with that. It was just an allegory, so to speak. Just saying, no matter though, even though you limping, we got the true crutch for you. Now, I want y'all to think about how supernatural that was. You're fighting in a dream, and you wake up and your hip dislocated. Now, I know we done had some nightmares, but I ain't never woke up with a bone out of joint.
No doubt.
I done been scared out of my wits. But I ain't never woke up and big toe was twisted this way. Unless I'm on the floor, I done fell out the bed. Let's get some more.
Verse 16.
Yeah.
He called upon the mighty Lord. When his enemies pressed upon him on every side, when he offered the sucking lamb. And the Lord thundered from heaven, and with a great noise made his voice to be heard. And he destroyed the rulers of the Tyrians, and all the princes of the Philistines. And before his long sleep.
And before his what?
Long sleep. He made protestations in the sight of the Lord. And his anointing.
And his what?
Anointing. I have not taken any man's goods, so much as a shoe, and no man did accuse him. And after his death.
After his what?
His death. He prophesied.
What did he do?
Prophesied. And showed the king his end. And lifted up his voice from the earth in prophecy to blot out the wickedness of the people.
Now, if a demon could do that, we had a whole nother level. See, this said Samuel prophesied the king in from where?
The grave.
From the grave. Y'all gonna get into some Jasher 42 when Joseph went to the grave of his mother. But you got to be careful when you read it, because he said he heard his mother's voice come out of the grave. When you understand what it says, Rachel weeping for her children. Rachel died before we went to Egypt, right? Along the way of Bethel. And Jacob buried her along that way. Well, when Joseph was being taken captive, they passed his mama's grave. He jumped out of there and ran over to the grave, and they say he fell as still as a stone. So he fell into a trance. And he actually spoke a vision that the Most High knew what he was saying, and it came up. It's not demonic work, because the men around him didn't know. They say, what the hell is he crying for? What's he doing there? They start whooping him. Get your ass, get up from there. Get up from there and get back on this truck. They never heard anything, but it say he fell still as stone, and he went into a trance. So when you get into that book of Jasher, 42nd chapter, and you read about Joseph dealing with grave work, y'all, that's why we have to be so careful about going to graveyard necromancy. When you go to weep and talk, you send something to your parent. The bottom line is you got to be prepared for what may happen with that. And since the Most High don't want us dealing with that because we don't have the understanding of it, a demon will play with you like the witch of Endor, and you'll get what you ask for. You'll have an angel come down there and tell you your end. You want to play? I tell you what, before you get home, you're going to die on King's Highway. And that'll happen because you're playing with the dark side.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's there for a reason. It's why every king have a medium or a spiritualist there. They know it's supernatural warfare. They are calling on their gods. Egypt had 380 of them, didn't it? Dog head gods. Do you know they had a god of the dung beetle? I'm talking about they had a god. The dung beetle rolls doo-doo into a ball. It just rolls it. But they say now the scientists have studied it. The dung beetle rolls it according to
the position of the sun?
The stars.
Oh.
Orion's belt. They roll it. That's how they used to measure the sun. So they turn the dung beetle into a god. And when you see the dung beetle god, it's because that dung beetle is rolling doo-doo in the pattern of the sun. Well, he just following the night light. But they make it a god. Look up Egypt's dung beetle god. You're going to be surprised, y'all, at what people will make their gods at a drop of a hat. We have to be careful. Go ahead. But we see that wasn't a demon. That was Samuel prophesied from the grave. And we got multiple examples of what's happening because it was prophesied to Adam that the Messiah, after y'all died, he would come to hell and release the prisoners. He was going to release that group from death. And when he resurrected, and they say the saints resurrected when he was crucified, those were who he released from the grave. And they went on to paradise. Because you can't find anybody being resurrected, died a second time. I'm still waiting on Lazarus' second death. On this side of the plane. Right. Let's get some more. Where we at? That's the end of that, y'all. I think we're going to make it. Jasher 71 and 9. I'll tell you what, why I got Matthew 17. Hold on, give me Jude real quick. And when we talk about, again, resurrection of bodies, that only the power of the Most High and his righteous angels are given that authority. No demons. Give me the book of Jude. Right before Revelations, y'all. And we're going to see war against two individuals that come from the body of Moses and see who had power. You see what I'm talking about, bro? Okay, verse 9. Jude, verse 9, we're going to start at.
Jude chapter 1, verse 9.
Start at verse 6.
Verse 6.
Hold on. Are we getting that with this?
No, what is
patriotic pages.
Yeah, they're gonna be.
Well, that look like some papyrus pages. Well, that look like what Paul told, man, go get my paperwork, man. Y'all got my paperwork?
All right, I'm in the new book.
Let's get it.
Jude chapter 1, verse 6.
Yeah. Shalom, mister, you gone? Okay, all right.
Shalom.
All right, cool. Jude chapter 1, verse 6. It says, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
So he's talking about the watchers in Genesis 6. This is book of Jude. James, the Messiah's brother, is still talking about them angels, what they did before the flood. Let's read some more.
Verse 7.
Yeah.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them, in like manner giving themselves over to fornication.
What they giving themselves over to?
Fornication. And going after strange flesh.
What kind of flesh?
Strange flesh. Or set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Likewise also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignity. Yet Michael the archangel.
Yet who?
Michael the archangel. When contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, darest not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee.
So the Most High sent Michael to go get Moses' body. Well, the devil was right there. Because he don't need the Melchizedek order to come into play, so he need Moses to be fronted to the people again. You understand? So now the people will worship Moses because they think he's the resurrected Messiah. So Michael told him, look, We're not going to have a repeat of what I did to you in the heaven. That was Michael that hit Lucifer with that left hook. Because the Messiah said, I saw Satan fall like lightning. Michael threw him out of heaven. So he told him when he come to get the body of Moses, to come to get the body of Moses, he told me, like, look, he could have cursed him out, but he said he didn't bring a railing accusation. He didn't say, you cloven-footed, no good, but he just said, look, player, we ain't going to play around with this, now move out of the way. Get out of the way. And he durst not confront him. He just bagged up. Okay, player, I'm just, you know how I do, players. And got out the way.
Right.
So we once again see a dead body being resurrected by an angel sent from the Most High to bring Moses' body to paradise. Now give me a little bit of that Matthew 17 and we're going to see that not only that, but we'll see other individuals resurrected the same way with the power of resurrection who happens to be the Messiah. Get 17 right there, 1 and 2. That's all I need, and we're gonna get on, y'all. We're gonna finish this up. Look like right on time, y'all.
Okay, Daddy.
Yes, sir. Matthew 17.
Okay.
And then y'all gonna get in this last one, and it's Jasher and the Messiah, and why we're supposed to entertain strangers, because they could be angels knocking at your door.
Mm-hmm.
17, 1 and 2, yeah, just when he transfigured. And we're talking again, now Satan masquerades as an angel of light, but only him, but he can't masquerade as nobody that died or anyone that's currently on the earth. He turns into any other thing, or maybe an individual you ain't never saw before or something like that. He scared Sarah like that, turned into an old man and had a mantle on though, so you really covering up. She can't see who it is. Oh, he wanted to hear the word. You know Isaac dead. And when I was talking about that last week, when I was talking about the age of Isaac, when Abraham was going to sacrifice him on the altar, Sarah had him when she was 90 years old. She died at 127. She died before Abraham got back with Isaac. So how old does that make Isaac? If she had him at 90 and she died at 127, how old is Isaac if he's still alive? How old is he? 37 years old when Isaac went up. He was a full-grown man, just like Messiah's full-grown when his father offered to have him crucified for our sins. They're not children. It's not sacrificed to Molech. He ain't gonna do that. Isaac wasn't 5 or 3 years old like the naysayers make you think that Abraham, what kind of law make a man put his baby up on a baby? You 37 and still a baby?
Some of them are.
You ain't got drawers on. You got a pull up on at 37.
It depends.
Yeah. Let's get some more, y'all. Where we at? Matthew 17, yeah.
Verse 1.
What it say?
And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up unto a high mountain apart. And was transfigured before them.
So he morphed right in front of them. Mm-hmm. Let's get some more.
And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah.
The same thing as the New Testament form of Elisha. Mm-hmm. You know, Elijah. So to speak, I'm saying Elijah. Go ahead.
Talking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto Yahushua, Master, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah.
Because they're up in the high mountain, so they know it's a portal opened up. Now, this is the kicker. How would these disciples know who Moses and Elijah was, and they lived 3,000 and one lived 2,000 years before these individuals? See, that kills that resurrection, that reincarnation doctrine of these one West camps, because they say John the Baptist was Elijah. Now, these disciples knew John the Baptist. If John the Baptist was Elijah, they wouldn't have said, let us make one for Elijah. They'd be like, shit, that's John the Baptist right there. If he was Elijah. You understand what I'm saying? It don't make sense, y'all. They would have knew who John the Baptist was, but they never laid eyes on Elijah. He lived 2,000 years before. But they're in the spirit. And they see these prophets coming. And you have to understand when the Messiah put them underneath him and said, I'm their Lord. The greatest prophet that ever lived, John the Baptist. And Moses, the prophet, who we consider both the greatest prophets in their time span, Moses and Elijah. The greatest two who they say lived on earth. John the Baptist was still alive. If I'm here in 2022 and an individual come that lived 3,000 years ago, do anybody in here know what Jeremiah the prophet looked like? We got Jeremiah back there. But that's the best we can do, put him in a mantle. I think he looked like that bro right there. Yeah, look, man, somewhere I read about a plaid mantle. You looking at Jeremiah's shirt. But we ain't got a clue, do we? Let's read some more, y'all. Is that it? That's all we needed on that. But why they want to make 3 portals like Jacob made, he put a pillar there when he had that vision about his hip getting out of joint. You mark it there. You say a supernatural event happened here. A portal opened up from heaven to here, so we mark it. Abraham marked it. So you mark it with a stone. You say a supernatural event happened right here, and these heathen do it. NASA has to wait for that portal to open. If it don't, they'll burn up. They have to wait till it's right there when they coming back in, or the ship will burn up. They having malfunctions. They like, no, the portal ain't open yet. We gonna burn up. They don't want another episode of that shuttle blowing up before it even got out the atmosphere. It's not designed for man to live out there. You can't get outside that Van Allen radiation belt. It's 300 degrees below zero on this side of the moon when the sun rolls over there. And it's 500 degrees above Fahrenheit when the sun is on that side of the moon. So what equipment or clothes you got to withstand that? You can't even drive a car in Antarctica after 2 p.m. The oil will freeze. And that's only 60 below. What the hell are you going to do with 300 degrees below zero?
Fake it.
Thank you, Zed.
Can you take that down to 9?
Go ahead. He want to take it down to 9. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the clouds which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. And Yahushua came and touched them and said, Arise.
What did he tell them?
Arise. And be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Yahushua only. And as they came down from the mountain, Yahushua charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. So
what he wants to do is don't tell nobody nothing about it. Tell them after I'm resurrected, because they're going to believe you then. Who going to believe you just saw Moses and Elijah? Who could we tell that? Right now, man, I saw Tupac up there talking to Al. I mean, how many of y'all going to look at me like y'all looking at me now? I mean, I ain't seen nobody take off running to see if he up there.
Right. I don't think they believe you.
No, right. Yeah. About a parking spot.
Right.
He came back here worried about a parking spot.
So don't tell nobody the dream to the Son of Man is risen. I want them to understand resurrection and who has the power of resurrection. Then tell them what you saw. And then that Moses is going to line up, his face going to be perfectly if y'all make it through the regeneration with me into the kingdom, you're going to see the same Moses. You're going to see the Moses that led them out of Egypt. That was that Moses. So who do these schools and camps say is Moses today? Or was in the scripture? Who did they say was that? Man, I don't know who it was, but he came back again. What is King David coming back for? I'm just asking, what would King David come back here for? To tell us what? Go ahead, Imam.
Had this thing just recently, a friend of mine sent me this information about Prince Oscar.
Oh, I see it.
And he was saying that they were comparing him to Moses.
Look, Moses ain't never got caught up on corruption charges, trying to bribe the United States government. Who she's talking about, Prince Asiel, was Benjamin Carter's right-hand man. What's the boy name? What's his name? What do they call him over there? Ben Carter. Yahweh, not Yahweh, Ben Yahweh. Over in Dimona, their king. Who was it? Ben Yahweh. And is it Ben Yahweh? No, that's wrong way here in Florida. Who was the boy over in Dimona? The Chicago Benjamin.
He had a bus driver.
Yeah, Benjamin Asiel was his right-hand man. Well, in his writings that he wrote to a Muslim, when he got kicked out of Dimona, he told him, at first, I truly believed he was the Messiah because he led us to liberty we got through. But when he told us we would have Jerusalem in 7 years, and when that didn't come to pass, I lied to myself and said, maybe it's because of this over here, and I tricked myself for another 7 years. At this point, I know he ain't the Messiah, but he had to throw you out of Dimona for you to now confess what your heart is telling you. This man ain't the Messiah. He's got false prophecies. And then he tried to get with Bobby Rush because he hooked up with Zimbabwe president over there, Mugabe or whatever his name is, and he tried to get sanctions removed through Bobby Rush. Well, the United States government found out about it, and they say, you trying to bribe our U.S. officials? Send him from over there. They escorted him back from Jerusalem, put him in a court in Chicago, and charged him with crimes of bribery, and put him in a penitentiary over here for 4 or 5 years, and papers the rest of his life. So you leave Babylon, your leader kick you out, and you back over here for hustling, trying to bribe the United States government to take sanctions off of Zimbabwe, and then you die in this nation. That's a bad way to go out, ain't it? And not only that, but you got letters you crying to the Muslims, like they gonna go talk to Benjamin.
And they said that was their best friend.
Look, he probably was a lot of people's best friend, but he chased the flea doctrine. And this is what happened to him when he chased the flea doctrine. He ended back up in Babylon, not only doing time, but not only this, he full of embalming fluid over here. Now here word is they talking about taking his bones back over there and burying him in Dimona. Well, he was kicked out over there. You know what their graveyard is? The dump. The city dump. They dump their dead over there. Look, and the reason I'm saying this is because they're running a scam to keep the Social Security money. If you're getting any money, I can't report you dead. We just throw you over there with an old leather couch. Some old Levi's and some old drawers, you get swept up in that. But you still alive because we need that paper over here. Let's read some more, y'all. We got to get out of here in about 7-8 minutes. Jasher 71-9, y'all, we're gonna cruise through these. The book of Jasher 71-9 is just something important that happened to Moses when Pharaoh was going to kill him. Because Christ was to come same way Moses with signs and wonders, but he would be more powerful. He would be like John the Baptist told him, I shall decrease and you shall increase. Moses had a decrease because he was the shadow of the law. He was Aaron. He was not Melchizedek. The increase is Melchizedek because it's the supernatural conscience law, the way you don't have to see it wrote down. Do you have to put fringes on to do right?
No.
See, you can't be forced. Abraham never wore fringes, nor did Jacob. Nor did the 12 tribes wore them out. The remaining individuals after 4 years put them on. But fringes was brought about because of a crime. Not because it was something righteousness. It was about hard-headedism. If you can't do right, maybe we need to put something on it. Just say do right. Like Spike Lee, do the right thing. That's what fringes was for. So you would do the right thing. But once it gets in your heart, you can take that off. 71 and 9, real quick, y'all. We're going to get on out of here. What did it say?
What is it?
The book of Joshua.
Okay, so I tell you what, start at 1, and we just read down to 9, down to 10.
What chapter?
Joshua 71. Y'all pull it up on your smartphones if y'all need to. Joshua chapter 71 verse, we'll start at verse 1, because y'all, the hit has always been on us being as, y'all, that's why they always got to have us around, at least one of us. It'll keep the nation safe. Y'all think it's a coincidence Kamala Harris is what the position she in, and why the White House is in the middle of Washington, D.C., and they call it Chocolate City?
Right.
95% Hebrew. Why would you put the capital, the strongest nation on earth right now, right there? Void of tornadoes. Void of hurricanes. Because you got Israel surrounded it. Let's read.
Book of Joshua, chapter 71, verse 1.
What did it say?
And when Moses was 18 years old.
How old was Moses?
18 years old. He desired to see his father and mother, and went to them in Goshen. And when Moses had come near Goshen, he came to the place where the children of Israel were engaged in work. And he observed their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian smiting one of his Hebrew brethren.
And y'all think about like this, a police, you know, we see Ariel over there, and then the police just hit you with the nightstick for no reason. Just cross your scalp. Go ahead.
And when the man who's
Why me?
Go ahead.
And when the man who was beaten saw Moses, he ran to him for help. And the man Moses was greatly respected in the house of Pharaoh. And he said to him, My Lord, attend to me. This Egyptian came to my house in the night, bound me, and came to my wife in my presence. And now he seeks to take away my life.
So when we talk about what these white folks did to us in slavery, this is a black man. And you have more respect for being a maiden with an African than you do an Egyptian. Than you do Esau. So just because their skin color is closer, you'll accept their behavior than you will this. But the slave master here in America learned from these Egyptians. And this was an Egyptian broke into this Hebrew's house, tied him up, and raped his woman in front of him. This is when you read in Genesis why Moses left Egypt after he killed a man and covered him in the sand. This is the event. This what happened. This is what the Bible is only mentioning in pieces. But Joshua breaking it down why Moses killed this man. So it kills the naysayers from saying Moses committed murder. No, Moses laid down his life for his brethren. There was an attempted murder after a rape of an individual's wife, and Moses stopped it, and he killed that man about it. But he's still under Pharaoh. So Moses took the law into his own hand. He knew he was going to have to get out of there. He was going to have to burn out of there for what he did, but he stopped that Egyptian from killing the man. Now, you'd already raped his woman in front of him. Now you got him on the run, and he running, the man right behind him. He see Moses just falling. Help me, Moses! Help me, Moses! And not only this, but this Egyptian keep coming like, who the hell is Moses? Moses will get what your wife got. Let's get some more. Go ahead.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
And when Moses heard this wicked thing.
What did Moses hear?
This wicked thing. His anger was kindled against the Egyptian. And he turned this way and the other. And when he saw there was no man there, he smote the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And delivered the Hebrew from the hand of him that smoked.
Now we read that in the scripture, but not to those details, but we're going to get more into it, what happened after that. Go ahead.
And the Hebrew went to his house, and Moses returned to his home, and went forth and came back to the king's house. And when the man had returned home, he thought of repudiating his wife. For it was not right. It was not right in the house of Jacob for any man to come to his wife after she had been defiled.
So he couldn't come back to her. Now look, he repudiating his wife. No. I know you didn't even have him come by her. You know, and shit, I'm gonna do. But you a coward. You let him come in your house, tie you up, and not only that, he went to work on her in front of you. Like that Rockadoosh. Yeah. When they had the FBI agent in there, and Daikon went to work on her in front of her husband while he chained up, bound. Go ahead. Heavy blows was being sold. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the woman went and told her brother.
What she go tell her brother? She like, wait, I'm going to get my brother. You blame me for getting raped?
Right.
I'm going to get my brother.
You causing me because you a coward? I'm going to get my brothers. Go ahead. Them Israelites, ain't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Break it down, Jose.
Go ahead.
And the woman went and told her brothers. And the woman's brothers sought to slay him. And he fled to his house and escaped. And on the second day Moses went forth to his brethren and saw, and behold, two men were quarreling. And he said to the wicked one, Why dost thou smite thy neighbor? And he answered him and said to him, Who has set thee for a prince and judge over us? Dost thou think to slay me as thou didst slay the Egyptian? And Moses was afraid, and he said, Surely this thing is known.
Now these two Israelites, he break them up from fighting. Hold on, players, y'all Israel. Man, don't be fighting like this, man. He say to the wicked one, man, why you gonna kill your brother? This your brother.
Man, get on away from me.
Hey, man, you better get on away from me with that. Nigga, you didn't say nothing about when you killed that Egyptian. Moses like, oh, wait a minute. You know about that?
Right.
But look who gonna tell on them though. Who is it gonna rat him out? Our own people.
Right.
Our own people gonna rat him out, just like the Pharisees did when they said, give us Barabbas. Give us the murder. We don't want Christ. Them was our own people. Pilate said, I see no fault in them. What them Pharisees and Sadducees that was Hebrews say?
I'm telling
Crucify him. I'm telling Caesar on you.
Caesar.
I go tell Caesar on you. Let's read some more. And we got about 4 minutes. Go ahead. Get verse 9.
Verse 9. And Pharaoh heard of this affair, and he ordered Moses to be slain. So God sent his angel.
Who he sent?
His angel. And he appeared unto Pharaoh in the likeness of a captain of the guard.
So in the likeness, see, we're talking about again angels morphing into individuals, the likeness of them. Not that individual per se, but just almost a doppelganger. Dress up the same way, the beard, where you may take a double look. That's what that angel did. Go ahead, let's read some more.
And the angel of the Lord took the sword from the hand of the captain of the guard and took his head off.
What did he do?
And took his head off. For the likeness of the captain of the guard was turned into the likeness of Moses. And the angel of the Lord took hold of the right hand of Moses and brought him forth from Egypt and placed him from without the borders of Egypt, a distance of 40 days' journey.
So we see right here that the Messiah turned that guard into the likeness of Moses. He just turned a quick glimpse that where they looked at the guard, the image of him made it look like that was Moses. And he took the sword and cut his head off. So Pharaoh thinking Moses was slain. And then the angel of the Lord led Moses out into the wilderness, you know, and that's where he experienced his burning bush issue. Moses was a king of Cush for a while he was on the run for 40 years. Moses was a king of a couple nations. They saw him and they like, will you be our king? He's like, well, I'm on the run, but yeah. So y'all, let's just get right to the matching up of that John 20:15. Y'all, we got these last couple we're going to close on out. And then we're going to show you just where same kind cannot be morphed into a different kind. Now, it can happen when you have bestiality. It can birth that, but it'll be sterile. It'll never be able to reproduce. It's one and done. John 20:15, y'all. We ain't got but these two more. We close on that. We was gonna get into Tobit 5th chapter, but it was just one verse I wanted to hit in there. Y'all, we're gonna close on out. Let's get it, y'all, real quick.
You gonna finish it next week?
No, I'm gonna give a little homework, but you know, I'm gonna get you right to the points on it. And look, y'all can always review the end part if you gotta leave me, Mom.
I know the list was waiting.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll take it. I need to come by and see you tomorrow anyway. I got something for you. Okay, so just from the war show. So.
Thank you, Creator. The Creator. Blessings on y'all.
Okay.
You all need anything?
So I'll see you after the show. Most I will.
I'm gonna see you on
Tomorrow.
You all, yes, sir.
Okay.
You all need everybody okay?
Everybody okay?
You all need anything?
All right. No man. Thank you, Imam. Let's get it, y'all. John 20:15.
John chapter 20, verse 15.
What it say?
Yahweh saith unto her, Woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She supposed him to be the gardener.
Okay, so what we're lining up again is this is after the Messiah's resurrection. Mary is at the tomb. Mary, Martha, and them there, and they see the stone rolled away and the Messiah gone. The Messiah looking in the image of the gardener. So when she see him, and now she know the Messiah because him and Lazarus was best friends. He hung out their house all the time, and she was actually speaking to him, but she just thought it was the gardener who sweep up the leaves around the graveyard and keep it tidied up. Let's read it. Start it over there.
Yahweh
Start at 14.
Huh?
Start at 14 on that. 2014. Go ahead.
14.
Yeah.
Verse 14. And when she had thus said, she returned herself back and saw Yahweh standing and knew not that it was Yahweh. Yahweh said unto her.
So he's speaking to her. Go ahead.
Woman, why weepest thou? Whom seekest thou? She supposed him to be the gardener and says unto him, Sir, if thou have borne him hence.
See, that's B-O-R-N-E. That means to carry. So if you had carried our Messiah somewhere else, go ahead.
Sir, if thou have borne him hence, tell me where thou hast laid him, and I will take him away. Yahweh said unto her, Mary. She turned herself and said unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. Yahweh said unto her, Touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father, but go to my brethren and say unto them, I ascended unto my Father and your Father, to whom my God and your God.
So right here he told her, you can't touch me because I'm the first fruits. I got to go back to him. I got to offer with no blemish. If you touch me, you're going to defile me with your corruptible flesh. So don't touch me, just me. But she mistook him for the gardener even after he was talking to her. So see, he just morphed real quick to where he can get her. And look, these true answers. See, that let her know that where her concern was in her heart, because she didn't know it was him. See, if he had just showed himself to her, then that would have made her believe. But he said, no. And then when he told her, he said, it's me, Mary. She like, Rabboni! He said, you can't touch me, because you know she was finna try to hug him up. He said, can't touch me, Mary. I got to go to my father. Go tell my brothers you seen me. And one of them brothers was doubting Thomas. I ain't going to believe it. Till I see the nail prints in his hand and the sword in his eye. I ain't going to believe it. But what I want to show you once again, only angels, only the power from righteousness is able to more and make it look like it never said he was the gardener. He just presented himself with the same exact attire and appeared to the natural eye that that's who this individual was. Because she looking for somebody in grave cloth or whatever. What y'all do with him? Just tell me where y'all carried it and I get him reburied. What y'all do with him? And she said, "This me, Mary. It's me." Go ahead. What you got?
Quick question. If he was beaten unrecognizable as a human being and he was standing there before her.
Yeah. But right, so but she just didn't expect him, but she knew him face before he got beat. So she knew what he looked like before that happened. So let's I just wanted to hit that one. Now what I want y'all to do is read all of Luke 24, the whole Luke 24. It's gonna get into this verbatim. Not only this, but it's gonna be a couple times that it appeared that he morphing on people. You know, just like he did on the Mount of Transfiguration. If you believe that and he brought Moses back, this shouldn't be too hard to believe, should it?
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. Y'all read all of Luke 24. Just give me real quick, and y'all gonna close out Hebrews 13, 1 and 2. And just Tobit, I just want to read just two verses in Tobit, where Raphael came and morphed as the individual family members, not as anybody. He just asked what family he from. He say, "I'm from them." He like, "Sure is. You look just like your dad. You look just like them Johnsons." Real quick, Hebrews 13, 1 and 2. This Tobit, and y'all can read these hybrids, and we're going to show where they did cross kinds when man and beast got together and they had an offspring. But it was sterile. And we're reading Joshua, half man and half beast.
Wasn't that, Turner?
Hebrews chapter 1. No, Hebrews chapter 13, right?
Verse 1 and 2, yes sir.
Verse 1. It says, "Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers."
Be not what?
Forgetful to entertain strangers.
For
thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
See, some you have entertained angels unaware. It's countless of people that say an individual showed up here, did this thing, and then he was gone. I ain't never seen him no more. Right. I asked the people, "Do y'all have him on camera? Do y'all see him?" What happens there? Okay. So he asked, "Have y'all ever seen him?" It's in the ladies' bathroom, I think. Go ahead. Where you at? Real quick, y'all gonna close out Tobit. Tobit chapter 5, and I just want to read right here with Raphael, where he entertained and became a stranger to him.
You read this one, I ain't got my books.
Okay. Tobit.
Yeah, I ain't gonna stop you. Just read straight through. We'll expound on it. Then I'm gonna get these last two scripts, and we'll close on out.
Tobit, 5th chapter.
Yeah.
The book of Tobit in the Apocrypha, chapter 5 and verse 1. Tobias then answered and said, "Father, I will do all things which thou hast commanded me. But how can I receive the money, seeing I know him not?" So
Tobias' father, who is Tobit, was sending Tobias, his son, to go get some money from a man that owed him. He was in what's his land? Not Nineveh. Yeah, maybe it was Nineveh right here. So what happened was they had a famine. And he lost his job, and his wife lost her job. So what he did was, she was a homemaker, but he said, it's a man, a friend of mine that owed me some money. The money ended up to over 100 grand he owed Tobit. So he said, I need you to go get that loan for me. My partner say the money's good. He owed me that money. Go ahead.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
Or verse 3. Then he gave him the handwriting.
What he give him?
The handwriting.
Y'all see how this paperwork, always we got to do everything with paperwork? Right. Go ahead.
And said unto him, "Seek thee a man which may go with thee, whiles I yet live, and I will give him wages, and go and receive the money."
Notice how it ain't nobody ever on this side of the fence go do anything for free. You know, you see, he told me, look, I'll pay whoever you get to escort you there. And that's the way it's supposed to be, just like Abraham paid them soldiers to help him go get Lot. He paid them with the spoils. He said, so no man could ever say, I took the money. Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
Therefore, when he went to seek a man, he found Raphael, that was an angel.
What was Raphael?
He was an angel. But he knew not. And he said unto him, Canst thou go with me to Rages? And knowest thou those places well?
Can you go with me to Kinloch? And dost thou know the back alleys? And avoid certain dump sites? Go ahead, what else to say?
Verse 6. To whom the angel said, I will go with thee, and I know the way well, for I have lodged with our brother Gabael. Then Tobias said unto him, Tarry for me, till I tell my father. Then he said unto him, Go, and tarry not. So he went in and said to his father, Behold, I have found one which will go with me. Then he said, Call him unto me, that I may know of what tribe he is.
You hear how his dad is? I need to know if he our people.
Right.
Go ahead.
And whether he be a trusty man to go with thee. So he called him, and he came in, and they saluted one another.
You see how this is always hospitality? You see the first thing they do when they meet each other, salute the house.
That's right.
Good evening, how you doing? Respectful, go ahead.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
Then Tobit said unto him, Brother, show me of what tribe and family thou art. To whom he said, Dost thou seek for a tribe or family, or an hired man to go with thy son?
So the angel asked me, like, well, what you need? I got to be Israel to, I know them back streets. Do I have to be Israel? I know them back streets. Go ahead.
Then Tobit said unto him, I would know, brother, thy kindred and name. Then he said, I am Azarias, the son of Ananias, the great, and of thy brethren. Then Tobit said, Thou art welcome, brother. Be not now angry with me, because I have inquired to know thy tribe and thy family. For thou art my brother, of an honest and good stock. For I know Ananias and Jonathan.
See, he said, I know the people you talking about, but this an angel. So he had to be looking like them individual, and you look just like Jonathan.
Right.
Boy, around the forehead and... Go ahead.
Sons of that great Samias, as we went together to Jerusalem to worship, and offered the firstborn and the tenths of the fruits, and they were not seduced with the error of our brethren. My brother, thou art of a good stock.
And so we're going to hold that, y'all, but y'all read the rest of this Tobit. But this is just like the Muse story, because what happened was they had a daughter. It was this other man had a daughter, and the demons had them killed 6 of her husbands. I'm talking about, soon as they go into the wedding chamber, the demons say, you ain't finna put in no work, player, this my woman. And the demon killed 6 or 7 husbands. So it cured both that side. When he went, he told Tobias, he said, look, this is what you got to run that demon off. You get some gall of this fish and you do this, and when you burn it and smoke it, it's gonna chase that demon away. But it's instructions. And then when they met up, he met the woman, and they say, this gonna be your wife. Well, her family said, I don't think that's a good idea, because the devil keep killing her husband. But the angel told him, if you do this, you're going to run that demon off. So he did it. But then what you see next is a ceremony. Then what you see next is vows written. I'm talking about before they go to the marriage chamber. And this in Nineveh, this in the land of their captivity. They still following rules of marriage engagement of a feast before they go to that honeymoon chambers. And when that feast was over and they prayed, and he prayed to each other, I don't take you for lust. Lit the incense, that demon took off running, and guess what? The family had already dug his grave. The new father-in-law had already dug his grave. And when they sent the handmaid in there to peep in there, go see. And when she looked in there, he was snuggling and smiling. She said, he's still alive. He's still alive. Boy, then they had a feast for some more days, y'all. But it was this angel who morphed into who his daddy knew, and he was confident in him. But the angel always, why do you seek my name? Just like the angel asked Samson's mama, what you need to know my name for? All you need to know is what if he said, okay, I'm from Azariah and them. And his son says, he said, man, I know them. The angel knew that, and he knew him, but he's looking just like that stock. Like had it been Nat Turner. Now, if it had been me and I wouldn't have had no beard, you know, and they'd have said, it's just not Turner. They'd be like, hell no, you don't know them. But y'all, we're going to close out. But look, this is what I want for homework. And when we talk about crossbreeding, not morphing, crossbreeding, man and beast, you want Jasher chapter 36, verse 29. Read down. And also Jasher 61 and 15. And then you want all of Genesis 6 because they were mating with women and having offspring, but those giants were sterile. So it was one at a time giant, and they died out. But the spirits of those giants is still alive, because in the book of Enoch, 14th and 15th chapter, it say the offspring or the spirit, the flesh part died of the women, but the spirit of those angels that fell off those giants, they torment people today. And they came across the flood. Those are the spirits that tormented Saul when he would just throw a javelin at David. And David had to play that guitar, and the music soothes a savage beast. And he would calm down. Y'all, that's how important music is, y'all, to the soul. It'll take that anger out of you. When you hear a good song, you kind of sit back and relax, because it settles the soul, y'all. But those are the spirits. When we have evil spirits, those are not demons. Evil spirits are those left over from the giant to say, if I was you, I'd put my foot in his. Mm-hmm. A demon is a live devil, offspring, or one of the third that fell with Satan, that can inhabit you, but it has to get into your system. You have to let him in there. So you go get it through hypnotism. You'll get it through what the witch of Endor did, and that demon will leap inside of you. Evil spirit just whispers in your mind, steal that purse. They ain't looking. You want to eat tonight or what? She done told you she gonna put you out and you're gonna come home with nothing else. Those are evil spirits. Let's close out, y'all. Any questions on this?
You said tell me those.
Jasher chapter 36, 29, 36, Jasher 36, verse 29 is right to the heart of it. And Jasher 61 and 15. And you're going to see Esau's son, Zepho, killed a half beast and half man that was terrorizing the neighborhood. And when you read Genesis 36, it's the same Zepho out of the lineage of Esau. The same exact Zepho. It'll tell you it was Zepho the Edomite that killed him. Look, they may be on the hunt for Bigfoot. They ain't scared. Esau ain't scared. He out there looking for him. They got a show looking for Bigfoot, and ain't no brothers around. No, we ain't looking for Bigfoot. Don't want to run into him.
All right, family,
All praises, y'all.
We're going to get this closed in prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And it's in the name of his only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior and our Redeemer, Yahushua HaMashiach. But we know him as Jesus the Christ, family. Long live the King.
Long live the King.
Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 39th chapter, it reads, I say, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me. I was dumb with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. Then spake I with my tongue. Master, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am.
Sir.
Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth, and mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state
is altogether vanity. Selah.
Selah.
Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches, and knoweth not who shall gather them. And now, Yahweh, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I opened not my mouth, because thou didst it. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. When thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Selah.
Selah.
Hear my prayer, O Yahweh, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. Oh, spare me, that I may recover strength, before I go hence, and be no more.
Hallelujah! Selah! All praises, y'all.
Yes, sir.
If y'all got a shekel or two, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you, worldwide audience, for all y'all supporting for what y'all do. Shouts out to our Ed out there in Oklahoma. Yes, sir. Barack Yah, they call it. That's our Ed in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
That's Barack Yah out there in Oklahoma.
39 was closed.
Shouts out to that T. Mitchell out there in Memphis out there. Shalom.